1310 AM, W269 DL Milwaukee, and WGKB Waukesha.
He steps to the mic with a boom ping ping. Wisdom sharper than a beast's fierce sting. Words like fireflies that light the night. He turns the dark into blazing bright. Boom ping ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom ping ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, oh the airwaves king. Shake the ground, unveils a truth where lies abound. Politics, justice, social streams. He molds the chaos into dreams. No silence here, just the sound of change. Boom, ping, ping, rearrange. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, or the airwaves king. Through the static, through the noise, he amplifies the people's voice. Boom, ping, ping, like a heartbeat's call. He's got the wisdom to break down walls. Yeah.
Good morning. Welcome to the program. Today is Monday, July 11th, 2026. Typically, I don't care if there are fights at different public events. You know, we've talked extensively this summer about the violence we have seen in two very prominent entertainment districts in the city of Milwaukee. And I will discuss those. We will discuss those because they are adding to the overall violent culture and nature of Milwaukee summers. And it seems to be a very unique kind of phenomenon that of all of the places and spaces in this city in which we are used to and accustomed to, the areas in which violence will creep its ugly head, it isn't typically our entertainment districts, because the people that go and frequent the entertainment districts are going down there to have fun, not necessarily find the person that they are beefing with. So I give a context when I talk about fights. I don't often talk about shootings and homicides, because then if you get bogged down into that, if you begin to talk about them and to cover them, you have to cover them with consistency, and then it'll seem like that is all my show will be about. So I have to have some kind of context when I do talk about violence, because there already is a perception that the African American community does have a propensity toward violence. I think communities of human beings have propensities toward violence. It just seems that African American violence is exacted in a particular way, and most of the time it's against other black people. But I also don't want us to look for instances, because we always want to compare ourselves to the white people, because we have to go above and beyond to try and compare how white people are more violent than black people. Our violence is random, it is in your face, it is a petty beef. It's two men arguing over a woman. It's two women arguing over a man, and those things can turn deadly. Whites commit violence too. And I'm not talking about school shooters because for some reason we think that it's a fair comparison. Someone will get shot in Milwaukee every 48 hours. There's not a school shooting every 2 days. So we want to do these comparisons, and those comparisons oftentimes they fail to make our point of trying to illustrate how white people exact their violence. White people exact their violence politically, socially, and economically. It's quiet. It's covert. It's elegant. So we will never be able to make the same one-to-one, apples-to-apples comparison. But the reason why I pedestalize one festival in particular, you guys have heard me talk about it probably for weeks, Bastille Days. It's my favorite summer festival. I like the theme of it, even though I don't necessarily like French people. I could take them or leave them. In fact, if France was never here, we would just get our wine and cheese from somewhere else. I like the vibe of it. I love the Cathedral Square neighborhood. I've got great history in that neighborhood. That is where I first discovered jazz in the park. I've been going to Bastille Day since the 90s, back before it was even the festival that it has arisen to now. And it's always been just pleasant and delightful, and everyone is in such a good mood because it's the first festival after Summerfest. Because Summerfest, if you're a local, can be a headache. And Summerfest, if you are connected to or own a local business or a music venue or restaurant, like a lot of local businesses suffer when Summerfest is in town, especially those local businesses that rely on booking live entertainment because people would rather go to Summerfest than go to some other live music venue location in the city. And so I've noticed the headaches of Summerfest, but Bastille Days is just like a welcome back to good old-fashioned Milwaukee street festival normalcy. And in all of the years that I have been going, I haven't seen so much as a disagreement over a stepped-on foot. It was very good to see a lot of you. I know I blabbed my mouth pretty much every single day leading up to Bastille Days that I was going to be there. And like an idiot, I tell people where I'm going to hold court because I don't just go to Bastille Days. I hold court. I have an area in which I preside. I have my own section. I saw a lot of Truth Nation people. In fact, you know what I heard? I even heard a lady pass me by and said, "Oh, it must be Silver Fox Summer." And I looked, I said, "Shout out to you, lady. You are an avid listener if you know that how I have named this summer." So it was so great to see so many of you. I went on Thursday and I went on Friday because I had my fill with those 2 days of going to Bastille Days. I did not go on Saturday, but apparently something transpired on Saturday. And I would not have known because Saturday, I didn't even spend my Saturday on land. I was on the water all Saturday. It's a beautiful place to be when you get sick of Milwaukee. You know, there's a whole nother city that exists when you travel by boat. Oh, there's restaurants and bars and lounges that have boat slips, and you park the boat and you walk up the ramp and you're kind of shaky because you got sea legs because you've been out on the water, and then you go and you get some delicious food from one of the many restaurants, whether it be Sail Loft, whether it be the Bridgewater, whether it be Barnacle Buds. We have a whole slew of restaurants that cater to the boating crowd. And it's just so relaxing and it's peaceful and you don't hear any gunshots. No one is fighting. It's beautiful. So I get home from a very long day on Saturday. We got out on the water about noon. Then we went back to my buddy's condo and watched some incredibly exciting UFC fighting. And then by the time I get home, because I don't really check my phone when I'm out in the world living life, and I get tagged in all of these posts. Never good. It's never good when I have, Facebook will let you know how many notifications you have. 2, 3, 4. A little notification bell will have a red notification number. 2, 3, 4. You know you're in trouble when it says 9+. I'm like, uh-oh, what happened? Apparently, the one thing that I ask people not to do, and I don't really like to tell people what to do because I'm not in that business. I'm not in the business of telling people what to do because people don't listen. people will ask, Sherwin, what should I do? Sherwin, can I have some advice? And if you ask Sherwin for some advice, I got plenty of it for you. But if you don't take it, I'm going to stop telling you. So I'm no longer in the business of giving advice and telling people what they should do because they simply don't listen. I think they just want and hope that my opinion matches theirs, but I actually hope the opposite. So whatever. I told people don't go to Bastille Days and act a fool. That's the one thing I said. I don't care what else you do. Do whatever you want to do. Go wherever you want to go. Enjoy life how you enjoy life. Go to a park, Milwaukee County Park, and go ruin someone's basketball game. Do whatever you're going to do. Do not get it all out of your system. Go to McGovern Park if you want to fight. Get all the fighting out of your system. And then go to Bastille Days and walk around and get some beignets. Okay? Put on a beret. Draw on a little very thin French-looking mustache. Dress up like a mime. And just enjoy yourself at Bastille Days. Don't bring the fighting to Bastille Days. So I'm looking at all of the videos in which I am tagged in because apparently a lot of people know that Bastille Days is my favorite festival. And not only was I tagged in the fights at Bastille Days, I have several different angles of every physical altercation. And guess what? Guess what race of the people it was. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, sure, when the Asians went down there and just cut up at Bastille Days, they had a whole kickboxing match and kung fu and jiu-jitsu. It wasn't the Asians. I know what you're thinking. Oh, Sherwin, it was those Latino Hispanics. They were down there speaking Spanish, calling each other pendejos and fighting. Nope, it wasn't them. Let you guess who it was. And let me tell you why this upsets me. First of all, it's not the place for it. It isn't even the kind of place that even features the kind of atmosphere and culture where violence would even exist. Okay, that's the first thing. The reason why these fights and why I talk about them more frequently is because I don't know if black people quite understand this. We're going to get it. If we don't get it now, because we usually have hard heads and soft asses. We live in a politically exclusionary environment. And every time that we are involved in a nonsensical, stupid public disruption, it gives more people that already have built political coalitions, because this is an election year. In fact, we have an election coming up on the August of the 11th, and then we have another election coming up in the November. And I think I have some information here somewhere where I think about 26 or 2,700 people are going to be impacted. A couple of polling locations have shifted. It's not a major change in where people go and vote, but there's a few, and we want to let you know about that. But we're currently in a political environment that is seeking to be exclusionary. So if you are involved in behaviors that are disruptive, that are illegal, that are violent, and that are a threat to public safety, you will be excluded from the political discourse of the day. And I want people to understand that. And this comes from the Trump administration's pretty consistent adherence. And it's also here in the state of Wisconsin as well, with the loss of a minority scholarship and the Wisconsin Institute of Law and Liberty now suing the supplier diversity program, meaning minority contracts are also going to be declared unconstitutional and illegal. And, of course, parental choice, school choice, the voucher program is under threat from the Democrats and the liberals and the progressives. We live in an exclusionary environment as black people. And so the worse the behavior is, and I know that you shouldn't stereotype all black people, but that's what they do. And that's the world that we live in. You're going to have to get used to that now. So the more violence that we engage in, the more likely our issues are not going to be included in anyone's political campaign. Because why would you be? Because Donald Trump has made it easy and acceptable and a part of modern day politics, however temporary, to be exclusionary. Remember, the I in DEI is inclusion, and DEI has been evaporated literally in every single policy area that it could possibly exist. It is okay to exclude black people. And when we act in a particular way, even though it wasn't me, it wasn't you, it's still us. the issues that we have been fighting to solve when it comes to fairness and equity and healthcare and jobs and wages and the education of our children, all of that gets thrown in the rubbish bin because we live in an environment where excluding black people is in vogue. And it's not just the Republicans. The Republicans have, in modern day American politics, Republicans have consistently excluded us because we simply don't vote for them. In fact, Republicans win when we don't vote at all, let alone they don't need our vote. They don't have to court it. So Republicans have always been, at least in the last 50 or 60 years, have been exclusionary. Here's the part that we didn't see coming. Now Democrats and liberals and progressives and democratic socialists can be exclusionary too. And let me tell you why. It's very simple. You blacks are just too much. You're too much. You need too much and you do too much and you cause too many problems. You're just too much. And so if any of the above can win without the black vote, because we learned this from the Republicans, using super PACs and 527s, that's stuff that Democrats have also learned from the Republicans. Now Democrats are starting to see in this environment where it is much more politically acceptable to completely exclude black people from political discourse. You can win elections that way too, and then you don't have to be burdened with these blacks. Sarah Rodriguez, who is the current lieutenant governor, I know that every time I say that, I'm informing people of that information for the very first time. She apparently had to fire her campaign manager. Campaign manager was putting together false campaign reports. So Sarah Rodriguez's ability to choose qualified people, that's in jeopardy. But here's the other thing I would ask you to consider as all the black candidates, well, not all of them, but enough of them, David Crowley. I think Congresswoman Gwen Moore is probably going to endorse Sarah Rodriguez in the primary as well, because it's very clear that the establishment of the Democratic Party is endorsing Sarah Rodriguez. And for that reason, I have a problem with it, because remember, the establishment of the Democratic Party has now taken up the ability and the boldness of being exclusionary when it comes to black issues. I wonder if Sarah Rodriguez has a single black person on her staff. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to take a break. When I come back, I got something now. I want you guys to ask your white coworkers. For those, you could be a white person or an Asian person or a black person or a Latino person or a person of many different races. If you're at work right now, and a lot of you are, lean over to one of your white coworkers. One that you're reasonably cool with, someone that you might have little water cooler discussions with, somebody that you chat with every morning when you're making your coffee. Ask that white person what they call Brazil nuts. Xavier, do you know what white people call Brazil nuts?
No, I'm not even sure what you're referring to.
There's almonds and pistachios and pecan. Brazil nut is a very specific kind of tree nut. I'd imagine it's probably cultivated in Brazil. They're very delicious. They're very crunchy. It's got a almost macadamia nut-like texture. And I love me a macadamia nut. Those, of course, as you know, are cultivated mostly in Hawaii. But ask a white person what they call Brazil nuts, and then report back to me what that answer is. In fact, why don't you tell us in the YouTube? If you haven't done so already, go to youtube.com or open up a YouTube app for your smartphone or other mobile device, search 1017 The Truth and hit subscribe, and tell us what your white coworker says when you ask them what their family calls Brazil nuts. They're very popular around the holidays. That is what I love them. I eat them all the time. Sometimes if you buy some mixed nuts and a can of nuts, big mixed nut, the nuts are very healthy. It's a healthy fat. Brazil nuts are sometimes mixed and they're very crunchy and they're very yummy, got a good flavor to them. Kind of hazelnutty, kind of sweet. Yeah, but ask white people what they call Brazil nuts, and then you'll have the answer that you've always been looking for. You are listening to The Truth, the only place that makes you ask white people what they call Brazil nuts. Oh, I know the white people are yelling it out right now at the top of their lungs. In fact, I had a discussion about this with many white people this weekend. They were just as shocked as I was. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
In the United States, a vehicle is stolen every 31 seconds, about as long as this message. Luckily, you can take a few easy steps to protect your car in the same amount of time. Remove your valuables, roll up your windows, don't leave your car running unattended, lock your doors, and take your keys or fob. If you have information about a crime, call the police. If you suspect insurance fraud, also call 800-TEL-NICB. A public service message from the National Insurance Crime Bureau.
I always had to be so good, no one could ignore me. Carve my path with data and drive. But some people only see who I am on paper. The paper ceiling, the limitations from degree screens to stereotypes that are holding back over 70 million stars. Workers skilled through alternative routes rather than a bachelor's degree. It's time for skills to speak for themselves. Find resources for breaking through barriers at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Linda, sometimes you make me think that I'm not doing my show in easy to understand and digest English. Linda says, Sherwin, I'm glad you're finally getting it. Linda, what the hell am I getting that you didn't? Or vice versa. Ain't nothing that I get that you don't and you get that I... Whatever. Linda says, Sherwin, I'm glad you're finally getting it. I said hashtag black people issues is a hot topic in politics. No one, neither side will specifically address black issues. We must change the verbiage. Linda, I know what you've been trying to stress over the past couple of weeks. Oh, we got to stop referring to ourselves as black. We're human beings and we deserve human rights. That's a parallel universe, sweetheart. That is not where we are. We can't all of a sudden change the perception and the history of black people to try to fit neatly into someone's political agenda and not be singled out because we are black. There's a book that I need every single human being on planet Earth to read. It's called Race Tendencies and the American Negro. In fact, that is required reading before you even can understand anything that I'm talking about on this show. This program that I do Monday through Friday will make a lot more sense to you if you're at least familiar. Do like a Cliff Notes version. It's kind of long and it's dry, but it explains everything. It lays the political foundation for racial discrimination in America. Race Tendencies and the American Negro by Ludwig Hoffman. Please read it. He worked for Prudential Insurance in the 1890s, and he said, we can't insure black people. Black people should never, ever qualify for life insurance. So in the late 1890s, states were trying to figure out how states regulate insurance. In fact, we have an insurance regulator here in the state of Wisconsin. I believe it's an appointed position. And states were trying to figure out how they work with insurance companies and these people called actuaries, which determine risk, and how you're going to set rates for different people. You want to insure, this is for life insurance specifically. And Ludwig Hoffman says you cannot insure black people because they're gross and they're disgusting and they're diseased, and you cannot insure them because they are way too much risk. I believe the first president, and so that text, and it's based on lies because you still need, so after slavery ended, you still had to find quote unquote pseudoscientific ways to discredit and demean black people, because now that we were free, we had every right to integrate into society. So what they did is they made up an entire branch of science, like this racial science, to say, oh no, black people are just less intelligent. They're just meant to be servants, like our frontal lobes of our brains aren't developed. We're animalistic. And white people actually believe this. And this was the justification for keeping the races separate. And when you keep the races separate, you can determine who gets what. You can determine who gets policy, who gets resources, who gets investment, who gets the best schools, who gets the best infrastructure, public accommodations, et cetera, et cetera. So they use this pseudoscience. And the man who is the father of this pseudoscience, which I still hear and see echoes of even to this day, is Ludwig Hoffman, Race Tendencies, Race Traits in the American Negro. You've got to read some of this book. First, it was Teddy Roosevelt. There may have been a president before him. And Teddy Roosevelt proposed universal health care. But then the people that were the readers and the believers and the followers of Ludwig Hoffman in Congress at the time said, no, we can't have universal health care because black people will get it. And not only will black people get health insurance, they might actually benefit from it and live longer. And we have to make sure that black people are not able to get health insurance. Another key aspect of the book, Race Tendencies in the American Negro, is that if you just ignore black people and don't pay any attention to them whatsoever, we are so incredibly far behind that we'll just die out. It is some of the most profoundly racist academic text you could ever even conceive. And I need black people to know that this book existed in the 19th century and it fueled policy decisions, I would argue, right up until modern day. And to be black and to not know that that book is one of the many reasons. It's the science that they use to still degrade us. And we as black people have got to be more familiar with that text than anybody else does. Because white people don't have to read the book because the entire structure and institution system of the United States is based off of the pseudoscience in that book. So to be white is to have a life and have opportunities where that book is like the soundtrack, the background music of white supremacy without white people even having to know it. But black people, because it impacts us, we have to know that book intensely so that we know what we are walking into. And we have no idea. We think that there's some higher morality that people will adhere to and just decide to treat us fairly. No. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but some of us are literally walking around sleeping. And because such a text existed, I get angry when I see black people doing ridiculous things in public spaces and public places that gives everybody, including Democrats, more of a reason to completely ignore and exclude us. Because the foundation of institutional racism is you don't have to be mean to black people. Now, there are some extreme groups, like the Klan. They went and they hung us and burned crosses in our yards. Real, true white supremacists don't like that. They're like, oh, that's too flashy. You guys are making us look bad. The whole point of white supremacy in America is to be pleasant, to be kind, to smile, to shake hands, but to ignore black issues. Because if you ignore our issues and don't pay particular attention to things like our lower levels of education, if you're not investing in it actively, then we're going to fail in this economy. If you don't look at black infant mortality rates and maternal mortality rates, then just more black women are going to die. You don't ever have to do anything about it. So you don't mention any issues that impact black people. You just ignore them. At the same time, you're very nice to black people and you smile, but the issues that gut our community, you just don't do anything about them, because that is a tenet that came from this book. You don't gotta beat black people up. We're just going to die out naturally. Either us being excluded from advancements in medicine is going to kill us, or we're simply just going to kill one another. Either way, you exclude black people. And when we act in a way that makes that exclusion easier, because now it's not even immoral now. If you see a bunch of black people fighting and shooting, and you're a policymaker, you're like, yeah, I don't want to include these people because it's just too much. It's going to take too much money away from other things. So we are acting in a way that proves the point of this book, Race Tendencies and Traits of the American Negro by Ludwig Hoffman. It is required reading because you have to know how deep the rabbit hole goes. And most black people, unfortunately, we have no idea. But if you just ignore black people, deny them access to insurance. So I'm assuming, I think Theodore Roosevelt was the first. He's like, oh, we need universal health care in America. And then those who were loyal to the text of Race Tendencies and Traits of the American Negro is like, we can't have it because black people will live. So then Franklin Roosevelt, when he did his New Deal, he proposed it. Members of Congress were like, there's no way we're going to pass it because we have to make sure that black people don't have access to health insurance, because if they don't get it, then they're going to die. But then the presidents were like, yeah, but a whole bunch of other people are going to die too. And members of Congress were like, so be it, but we cannot have black people getting access to health care. Kennedy tried it. Lyndon Johnson tried it, got Medicare and Medicaid, and what do you have there? Here's the compromise. And Lyndon Johnson did a lot as far as civil rights legislation. He kind of picked up where Kennedy left off. But Kennedy actually proposed universal health care as well. Do you see where I'm getting to the end of the line here with Obama? Obama's Affordable Care Act was the most pro-black legislation since the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. And black people don't even understand that because we're unfamiliar with race traits and tendencies of the American Negro. So Lyndon Johnson was like, well, we're going to have Medicare and Medicaid. And the Republicans were like, only under one condition. Put a 20% donut hole, which makes no sense. Because the actuary said, you know what? Black people actually have less money, less assets, smaller pensions, less money to pay for health care. So, yeah, you can qualify for Medicare, but 20% has got to come out of your pocket. And if you don't have that 20%, then less black people are going to go to the doctor, going to go to the hospital, and we will die faster. And that is precisely what happens. And that 20% donut hole is what they call it. It still exists today. Nixon tried universal health care. You know, that didn't go anywhere. And the next president, well, Bill Clinton tried. They tried in 1994 with Hillary Care, because Hillary Clinton came up with a universal health care plan in 1994. That got shot down. Barack Obama was like, I'm going to get it done no matter what. And the reason why Republicans have been against it, think about how many times Republicans have voted, and they're still trying to gut Obamacare. But Obama was so cold at it, he made it bulletproof. Even the Supreme Court was like, dude must be a constitutional scholar, which Barack Obama is, and which he had to be in order to create legislation that America had denied for a century. Healthcare. Why do you think that they've tried so hard to gut Obamacare? Affordable health insurance, because Black people are able to get it. I'm going to take a pause for the calls, come back and continue our conversation. Every now and again, I got to do these sidebars because it feels like I'm talking to an audience that doesn't know some real foundational stuff of where racism has been written into text and applied with pseudoscience. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Wisconsin State Fair turns 175 this summer, and we only get better with age. Join us for 11 days of fun, iconic traditions, grand champion moments, and food that's absolutely worth the hype. Celebrate 175 years together and get your tickets today at wistatefair.com. Wisconsin State Fair, presented by T-Mobile, August 6th through 16th. We'll see you there.
Dreaming of owning your first home? Don't settle for a fixer-upper. Build a brand new home with Milwaukee Habitat for Humanity. They partner with first-time buyers to make home ownership possible with little to no down payment and a team that's on your side every step of the way. Even if you're just starting to explore what's possible, they're here to help you take the next step. If your household earns between $55,000 and $90,000 a year, you may qualify. Visit MilwaukeeHabitat.org to learn more.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakimick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot fast and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says,
avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
'Cause remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
the proper title of the book, I know I probably mixed the words around. Race Traits and Tendencies of the American Negro. Race Traits and Tendencies of the American Negro and Appreciation and Interest, 1896, Ludwig Hoffman. Personally, I think this should be required reading to graduate from a public or privately funded high school in the state of Wisconsin, if not every single one of the states in the United States of America, because it gives a foundation. It gives like a lens for people to look through to better understand like why we haven't moved the needle racially in the years in which there have been people fighting very vigilantly. Did I say it right? Am I getting to Alzheimer's? Vigilantly. Vigilant doesn't sound right. Vigilantly. Yeah, I got it. Why haven't we made much progress? Because there's still a foundation of racial hatred that was formalized by pseudoscience. I also get unnerved when people don't believe real science. And so the reason why a text that is full of just outright lies, generalizations, stereotypes, and a lot of the things that Black people have experienced as far as the disparities go is simply because we have just been left out and excluded. You can't go here. You can't get the best accommodations. No, you can't go to this hospital. No, we don't perform surgeries on Black people at this hospital. It's egregious. It's all faulty science. But people are so quick to believe science that fits with their ignorant, stereotypical beliefs and generalizations. If you don't know a lot about immunology and virology, you just don't know anything about it. And you don't know that you've been vaccinated 1 million times, 6 ways since Sunday, and you might be in your 50s or your 60s, and you got the smallpox and the measles vaccine. You got all that stuff because you could not go to public schools in this country unless you had those vaccines. And your parents, maybe they didn't tell you about it. Or you didn't care, or maybe you forgot. But then you hear about this COVID pandemic, that people didn't believe. And then you come to find out that modern science came up with a vaccine in short order. And then somebody says, yeah, that vaccine is going to kill you. And there's a microchip in it. It's going to give all the kids autism. People are likely to believe it. Because if you don't know something, your first inclination is to not trust it or to think it is bad. If you are not familiar with science, if you're not a critical thinker, and someone just throws some nonsense out into the world like, oh, yeah, the COVID vaccine is going to kill you, you'll believe it. That same ignorance was exploited and taken advantage of on the American people with Race Traits and Tendencies of the American Negro and Appreciation and Interest, written in 1896 by Friedrich Ludwig Hoffman. And so whenever I hear people spouting faulty science, and then you have to maintain faulty scientists because you can manipulate ignorant people into thinking things and doing things that are going to have adverse effects. The fact that Robert Kennedy, who's of an esteemed political family, now he's the worst, and there's some bad Kennedys. He's the worst, one of the worst. There's a few other bad ones, but he's the worst because he's also still alive and doing bad stuff. Some of the other bad Kennedys, because Kennedys have an incredible relationship with God. God just used to just grab him at Kennedy whenever he wanted to. He'd grab a dad, he'd grab an uncle. Come to find out there's a bunch of Kennedy sisters that they just died, just a bunch of Kennedy. Some Kennedys are killers. Ed Kennedy killed a lady, right? Oh, Xavier has his hand up for a question. Yes, Xavier.
I think they're paying for the sins of their great-grandfather who their fortune is founded to is because he was one of the greatest, forgetting the word now,
He's
but
a bootlegger.
Bootlegger, yes. Yeah, so he probably killed a lot of people. So you got to think.
I'm not an anti-bootlegger.
But, he was a part with the mob, so a lot of those people killed people. So I'm sure they're paying for the sins of their father. Because he's the reason why they're at where they're at. That's why they have all their money. He was literally a billionaire from bootlegging. And that's how they got their fortune, from literally a drug dealer.
Xavier, do you drink?
No.
Not at all?
Rarely.
Yeah, okay, well, you drink. I know you want to prove your point. If you were a teetotaler, that would make a lot more sense. But, alcohol, it was stupid to make alcohol unconstitutional. And I'm not exactly a fan of the mob either. Not a fan, but they had a distribution network. And if Americans want to drink, I can't all of a sudden go back to the era of prohibition, like living how I live right now, 26 years into the 21st century, and say, oh, no, alcohol was terrible and prohibition was bad. No, people want to drink. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was illegal for a short period of time until the U.S. government was like, there's no way. And so because alcohol was prohibited, it's also a good lesson when you talk about cannabis. If Americans want to do something, it doesn't matter if it's illegal. Americans will do it and then create an underground economy that will flourish, and it will flourish and it'll be tax-free, and it will allow crime to breed. So prohibition in a free country just doesn't seem to work. Well, no, you're correct. The Kennedys did make their money off of bootlegging. But if people want alcohol and they're going to get it, and they're going to make bathtub gin anyway. Hell, we got speakeasies right now. Like now speakeasy is like a cute little novelty. Like, oh, Black Cat Alley has a little speakeasy, and there's another bar that has a speakeasy. Go through some side door. It's a very nostalgic time in America. Also, if it wasn't for alcohol prohibition, you would not have the largest spectator sport in America. And no, it ain't soccer. NASCAR. NASCAR was born out of the rum runners, and the people were making moonshine and distributing moonshine, particularly in the South. They had to have very fast cars to outrun law enforcement. And so then when prohibition ended, I believe with the 21st Amendment of the Constitution, all these rum runners and bootleggers and moonshiners that souped up their cars to make them faster than law enforcement. Like, well, what we gonna do with all these fast cars? Well, you want to race, see who has the fastest car, because we don't need to outrun the law no more. And NASCAR was literally born from bootlegging. So there's an industry. It's kind of oxymoronic because it exacerbates drunk driving. Like, oh, I'm driving my fast car to outrun law enforcement so I can transport alcohol across county and state lines. It's a very fascinating history. All right, I'm getting off base with my show here. I just have to make sure that people know about race traits and tendencies of the American Negro. Let me give you a quick synopsis, and I got to take a break. Race Traits and Tendencies of the American Negro and Appreciation and Interest is a book written by Frederick Ludwig Hoffman in 1896. The book is a study of the African-American population in the United States during the late 19th century. It explores physical, mental, and cultural characteristics of African-Americans as well as their social and economic status. The book also discusses the history of slavery and the impact it had on the African-American population. Hoffman's work is considered controversial due to its racist language and his promotion of eugenics, which was a popular theory at the time. Despite its flaws, the book provides valuable insight into the attitudes toward African Americans during this period in American history. This scarce antiquarian book is a facsimile reprint of the old original and may contain some imperfections, such as library marks. And that's a description of the actual text. But everybody should read it, because then you get a better understanding of where we are as the blacks. And take a break, come back. So Lindsey Graham was assassinated, just FYI. It depends on how far deep down the rabbit hole you want to go with that. Lindsey Graham didn't talk to Donald Trump at 7:30 and then calls 911 having a heart attack at 8:30. And You guys want to go? I'll go. I got all the details. And also keep in mind, Mitch McConnell, well, come on. Xavier's over here cheering.
This is more my realm right here.
Right now, there is no functional majority in the U.S. Senate, and Donald Trump's detrimental voter legislation, the SAVE Act, has got zero chance of passing. Lindsey Graham may have gotten it done for Donald Trump, but so the Democrats had 47. That includes independents that caucus with the Democrats, including Bernie Sanders. Republicans had 53 members. Now they only have 51 members, which is a numeric but dysfunctional majority in the U.S. Senate. So the walls are closing in on Donald Trump. And Vladimir Putin sent a message to Trump. I will kill your biggest ally. He will die on American soil. I even know the CIA had the technology 51 years ago to inject someone silently with a toxin that always results in a heart attack some hours later. Lindsey Graham went over to Kyiv to talk about a new package of sanctions that would have crippled Russia. Okay? You got to keep in mind, the Iranians and Russia are allied. Russia is also at war with Ukraine. Lindsey Graham, for no good damn reason, goes over to Kyiv, meets with Volodymyr Zelensky to talk about we're really going to break the back of Russia, and then all of a sudden Lindsey Graham has a heart attack? Oh, stop it. We'll go down the rabbit hole if you want to. We'll do it. But this was a message to Donald Trump from Vladimir Putin, and guess what? Trump ain't going to do nothing about it. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know you love working weekends. If it means working on your dream home, both inside and out. And we're here to help protect those dreams so you can enjoy peace of mind. Save up to 40% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on where you purchase insurance and by state. Some exclusions apply. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
In Milwaukee County, equity means making sure everyone has a real chance to thrive. That's why the Milwaukee County Office of Equity works to help remove barriers, strengthen community connections, and support fair access to opportunities across Milwaukee County. Want to learn what they do, explore resources, or find ways to get involved? Just search Milwaukee County Office of Equity online. Milwaukee County Office of Equity, advancing equity for all Milwaukee County residents. For more information, search Milwaukee County Office of Equity online.
When a warrior faces adversity, he fights through it. He finds a way. Freedom isn't free. Rolling strong. Belief. Believe you can and you will.
Wheelchairs for Warriors provides mobility solutions to veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Join the mission and visit wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
Here's the deal. We gotta set ourselves up. See, retirement is the long game. We gotta make moves and make them early. Set up goals. Don't worry about a setback. Just save up and stack up to reach them. Let's put ourselves in the right position. Pre-game to greater things.
Start building your retirement plan at thisispretirement.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
For 75 years, the Muscular Dystrophy Association's voices have thundered through the halls of Congress.
For 75 years, we've willed the impossible into existence.
For 75 years, the MDA community has pushed the science,
shifted the narrative, and established the field of neuromuscular medicine.
And until that day, when this is all a thing of the past,
you couldn't stop us if you tried.
Join us and celebrate 75 years of breakthroughs at MDA75.org.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Have you guys asked your white friends or coworkers what they call Brazil nuts? I mean, I suppose you could probably look it up. I just want you guys to get an understanding of race and racism from a different perspective, because as black folks, we seem to think it's the white person caught on somebody's cell phone camera, I don't know, calling a black person the N-word, like, oh, look, that person is racist. Then we dox them. And you find out where that person works, and some of y'all are bold enough to call that person's HR to try and get them fired. Do you honestly think that has any kind of impact on racism? Because you single out a single white person that used the N-word publicly and was caught on camera and you get them fired? That's like thinking that sending a single person to jail is going to stop crime. It doesn't work that way. It is insidious. It is quiet. Do you know how many racist terms that white people have just for like everyday common things that we know nothing about? And it's just a part of their lexicon. It's subconscious to them. And when they have derogatory terms that they like, Brazil nut it's a very derogatory term. I'm sure some of you have probably figured it out, or some of you. So if you ask a white person that, they're going to be freaked out because they thought that we didn't know. And it was crazy is some black people don't even know what white people refer to Brazil nuts as. And they refer to it openly. And some black folks didn't know. Like I knew because I grew up around white people. I was like, that's offensive. Don't say that anymore around me. But like, no, Sherwin, it's not racist. It's just what we call them. Not only is it racist, it reminds us and them of actual cannibalism because black people were physically eaten, skinned. They made shoes out of our skin. Oh, it's so horrible. There was, God, I wish I knew who this content creator was. If you go back to the antebellum period, we think that and believe that black people have always been deserving of fair and equal treatment under the law. Always. But if you go back to a particular period of time, this is why it's difficult for black people to like fly American flags and get all happy that America turned 250 years old. Black people were like livestock that were bred, bought, and sold to be a labor force. Not human, not got to teach them to read. They're going to be scientists and doctors and lawyers one day. No. Just livestock. Just like, and then here's what's crazy. Like the plantation owner didn't even really hate. We interpret it as hate because it was denying of human rights and morality. But they didn't like hate us. It's just, does a farmer, think of a dairy farmer. Does he hate his cattle? No. But are his cattle just big, cumbersome beasts? Yes. And so let's think about other white people at the time, because black people literally were cattle. They called us chattel. They're actually similar words, and they should have a similar connotation in our minds. And so if you don't own a plantation, let's say you don't own a dairy farm in modern day America. You know of dairy farms and you know of cows that exist, but you don't own a dairy farm. You don't really have any feeling either way about a dairy cow. You might think like, oh, their lives are probably pretty crappy. They just walk around in a pasture and then they got to go and get milked. And then maybe they get slaughtered for meat. Like, oh, that's unfortunate. But you don't spend your waking hours thinking of how you're going to free the dairy farm cattle because they're not allowed to roam wild. So non-plantation owning white people just looked at black people that were enslaved like, oh, that's that farmer's responsibility. That's how he treats his cattle. That's how he treats his livestock. That's how he treats his slaves. Oh, well, I'm just going to go on about my daily life. They really thought that little of us. And then when we were freed, imagine the mindset change you would have to go through from thinking that black people were just livestock to like, wait, they're people? Like they can walk around and like go to the store and learn to read? That's how far the mindset shift. And it's actually, I would argue, that the mindset shift has not arrived 100% at thinking and believing and respecting us as actual human beings. So I just need us to have that kind of perspective because we seem to dismiss the history of race and racism in America. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Will be back for hour 2.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
At Milwaukee College Prep, we believe brilliance lives in every child. Here, students are challenged, supported, and celebrated every single day. With small class sizes, dedicated teachers, and a proven track record of academic excellence, MCP is helping Milwaukee kids reach their fullest potential. Enrollment is still open for grades K-3 through 8. Apply today. Give your child a school where they'll thrive. Visit mkuprep.com or call today. Milwaukee College Prep, brilliance lives here.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, walk them, pet them, and care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture or 50. You can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that, but you can adopt one. There are millions of pets waiting for a best friend just like you. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
Talking about guns with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you ask if there are any unlocked guns in the home?
Hey, we're so excited for tonight. Before we come over, though, may I ask if there are any unlocked guns in your home?
Our guns are stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access.
Awesome.
Learn how to have the conversation at agreetoagree.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Wherever there's a need in our communities, there's a United Way. Improving lives so everyone can thrive. Where more people can gain access to health care and nutritious food for their tables. Where more community members can benefit from financial education and get connected to local resources for housing support. And where children are given more chances to reach their full potential. Community is where we find our strength and where we share our hope. United is the way. Visit unitedway.org.
Are people around me safe when I vape? Science does not support that belief. Exhaled vape emissions linger in the air, affecting indoor air quality and bystanders in the same space through secondhand exposure. Vaping emissions can also accumulate on clothes, hair, dust, and furniture, leading to exposure risks to bystanders of all ages. And vaping around a pregnant person can lead to serious health impacts on fetal and childhood development. Enough with the puff. Learn more at ul.org/vaping.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Milwaukee Black Talk lives here on 1017 FM and 1510 AM, W269DL Milwaukee, and WGKB Waukesha.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to hour 2 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Well, not really a city girl, got a little bit of a lesson today. Well, that's what I want people to get from this program. I want you to learn things and to hear things you maybe never have been exposed to before, in hopes that you realize something. The more that you know and the more that you find out, the more you realize how little you actually know. There are whole universes that exist that people live in and subscribe to. There's whole belief systems of people in this country that we know nothing about. And it's dangerous because someone else's foreign belief system can have a real major impact on a whole community of people. That's why it is required for us to know all of these different belief systems, because if you're wondering why Black communities and Black cultures are still demonized and why equality has not yet arrived and why reparations is basically a pipe dream, there's reasons for that. There are institutions and foundations that exist solely for the reason to prevent Black progress. That's it. And nobody and other people's progress is going to get prevented too. Teddy Roosevelt, Franklin Roosevelt, Harry Truman, not Ike, Kennedy, Lyndon Johnson with Medicare. That's where you get the 20% donut hole. So for probably 40 years prior to Medicare, there had been an attempt to get universal health care in the United States because Europe had it. And America was like, well, why don't we have it? But then it was the influence of the book by Hoffman, Race, Traits, and Tendencies of the American Negro, that many members of Congress were followers and believers of, that you can't provide universal health care to the country because black people will get it. And since we went from chattel to actual human being, they had to figure out a way to stifle our progress for a number of different reasons. Because why compete against someone that wasn't even human between 1609 and 1865? Like, America was not like, oh, come on in, black people. You've had a really rough go. We're sorry we did that to you. Thank you for everything you've done, but here, we're going to welcome you in. No, even to this day, race is still a winning political issue in large portions of the country. And Democrats would use race to the extent that it could be the hedge against Republicans, and to the extent that black people were participatory in electoral politics. Democrats would echo black issues and sometimes work on them and sometimes create policy, but Democrats were getting currency out of working on black issues. They were getting votes and they were winning elections. Democrats have a very big agenda, and it's not all about black people. It's, women's issues, and it's organized labor, and it's raising wages, and a lot of those issues impact the working class, which a lot of black people are. But to think that the Democratic Party solely exists to serve black people, that's incorrect. We are a constituency, a loyal one. But when we start falling off and we stop participating, and when we act in a way that makes representing us very difficult, a couple things are going to happen. The quality of elected officials that we're going to get in the black community is going to falter. Okay, the black community will weaken, and it will weaken to a point where outside people and outside groups can come into the black community and do a couple things: carpetbag and make decisions on our development. So when we are acting in a way that makes us undesirable to represent, the vulnerabilities in our community increase exponentially, and you're starting to see it right now. I am thoroughly convinced that where you have African-American elected officials in local government and even at the county level, David Crowley is going to have a Democratic Socialist candidate running against him in 2028. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but why the hell wouldn't he? Why wouldn't they? Especially if they're able to pick up seats in the legislature, especially if they're able to pick up at least a primary win in the governor's race. That's why this is very, very dangerous, because what a Democratic Socialist can do is similar to what MAGA can do. And I don't want people to think that these are fundamentally different. The mechanisms in which they operate are precisely the same. You have vulnerable people that are hurting, they're hungry, they're disaffected, they're fed up, the economy and inflation and all of the things, and you make them a bunch of promises that you know damn well will never come true. And they believe it because vulnerable people will do a whole bunch of things. Vulnerable people will kill. And so if you can harness their vulnerability and just funnel them politically into believing that their salvation is going to come through voting for this political party versus that one, you're going to win some elections. Now, ultimately, what's going to happen? The pendulum is going to swing. MAGA made a bunch of promises. Trump made a bunch of promises that didn't come to fruition. None of them. All the stuff he said. Dude couldn't even build a wall, and we gave him wall money. He lied. People thought the Mexicans are coming over here and they're bringing in the fentanyl and they're taking all of our jobs. Total lies, but vulnerable people will believe that. And if you give Americans somebody to blame, we'd rather blame somebody than take any kind of responsibility for who we are as people. Right? We'll blame capitalism if everybody ain't rich. It's capitalism's fault. You think that capitalism is going to leave? Capitalism, while it's very complex and complicated, has allowed for America to reach particular types of heights that other countries could only dream and aspire to. Now, can it be exploitative? Of course, because America is an exploitative place. We exploit women. We exploit immigrants. We exploit the cost of labor. We exploit profit. It's just what we do. And to think that we can overturn capitalism is, you have a better chance of turning the United States of America, in God we trust, God bless America, into an atheist nation before you have any hope in extracting capitalism from these 50 states. You will have a better chance of extracting the word God from the American lexicon. That would be easier than thinking you can get rid of capitalism. But if you tell poor people, vulnerable people, scared people, economically uncertain people that capitalism is their problem, and this group of people right here is going to upend capitalism, then temporarily that group that's going to quote unquote upend capitalism is going to get, they're going to get an audience. The problem is you can't, because capitalists and oligarchs have a tremendous amount of power. And there's a couple of examples internationally where democratic socialist presidents have risen to power based on economic anxiety. And what happens is the people that control the levers and the mechanisms and the means of production overthrow those people every single time. If you think that somebody has made $1 billion and $1 trillion and $1 trillion, that they're going to just willingly give their money away and just willingly say, oh, the socialists are in power here, take all my wealth and give it to the poor people, they will burn this country down first. And here's the thing. They own everything to burn down. They would rather see this country go up in flames and they'll just go colonize the moon and Mars than to give a single penny of their money to poor people. Let's talk to someone who knows all about these concepts. Hello, Bob.
Hello, Sherwin. Listen, Sherwin, you got a tie on today. You look nice. Okay, the difference between, do you know the difference between a boy and a teenager?
No, I have no idea.
I think I say a teenager is
what
a
is
boy.
a boy, Bob? Let's start there. How do you define a boy? What's a man?
A boy and a teenager are so close. You have a wonderful example of a boy or a teenager in Trump. You have a wonderful example. He's not capable of being a man. To be a man, you have to be more mature, somewhat mature, and somewhat intelligent. His IQ is so low, he can't help but be a boy and be a man. He does not know how to be a boy or a man. He's too dumb.
And Bob, what does that say about us then as a country that elected him twice? I think that says something worse about us than it ever does about him. Because if he is that dumb and incapable of being a man and we elected him twice, then America's got some big old problems we need to figure out.
That's a good question. Now, it says in the Bible somewhat that a woman will not be in charge of a powerful position. And
hold on, wait, Bob, wait. Are you sure? You got to be careful if you quoting a Bible verse like that, because there's a lot of women listening. What verse is? I need to look that up. You know what? I'll Google it.
Now, listen. And he had 2 women run against him. I cannot understand it either, except if God says no woman can be in a powerful position, like President of the United States is a powerful position. And he's too dumb and cruel, which makes him a fool.
Bob, is that only what you're referring to? It looks like Timothy 2:12 and Corinthians 14:34 and 14:35. That means it's basically saying women can't hold powerful positions over a congregation in a church, not in the country. You got to be careful when you quote the Bible like that. You're going to make a lot of women mad. But you're used to making women mad. So
powerful positions, that is, okay, powerful positions in the church or powerful positions anywhere, what I think. Now, not they may have presidents of women in other countries, but they're not nowhere near as powerful as the United States. And another thing, I will not kill somebody if I'm vulnerable.
Bob, you're killing me right now. You're killing a lot of people right now.
Oh, and I'm getting that thing on my arm, that bunch of metal.
What?
And I'm thinking about the second thing, can I play that sex differently? But
Hey, Bob,
first
stop,
thing,
Bob. Sometimes I think you say stuff and it only makes sense to you, but if you're going to say it on the air, I need it to make sense to everybody. What do you?
No,
What kind of
that
metal are you talking about? You're going to get metal on your arm. You're going to get a new arm?
Make your fingers move. They show it on commercials on TV. I'm saving up for it. It take me a couple months, maybe 3 months, and I'm going to buy it. And the first thing, I'm going to see if I can play that sex with two hands.
Hold on, Bob. You're going to get a bionic hand? You're going to get a robot hand?
You seen that commercial on TV. I know you've seen it.
If you've seen a commercial on TV for a robot hand, I don't think that's something you should be buying. Maybe you need to go see an orthopedic surgeon or a doctor, not a TV commercial. So it's a commercial that makes your hand work.
That's right. And then the first thing I'm going to be looking for is the restaurant you be going to, because you're going to have to show your teeth. Otherwise, your white teeth, just like Carrie said, you got some nice white teeth when I came down to your studio. Otherwise, if you frown, that metal might be coming towards you. So you got to be careful. When I can do two hands, because I've seen it on TV, that woman doing two hands. I'm saving up for it. Take a couple months. So the second thing is that sex. But remember, the first thing is looking for them restaurants where you hide.
Bob, don't listen to me.
Listen
to me. If I ever see you at any restaurant I go to, I will personally pick you up because you don't weigh but 75 pounds. I'm gonna put you in my pocket.
I have two hands. You gotta watch yourself, bro. All that metal going towards you.
Bob, I would just take your bionic hand off. I would just unplug it. I just take the batteries out of it.
Not with two hands. Don't you think I can do something with two hands? And I should talk to you later, sir, because I've been on long enough. I know, and I'm shy when I get on the air enough. So, I would talk to you later. But you better watch yourself. I'm going to get that hand. Talk to you later.
I feel like I lose brain cells every time.
I don't even know why I come here. I don't even know what the point is. Here's what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to let Manan Sabir fill in for me, too. So Manan is going to do shows from 9 a.m. until 4. Y'all going to get you some Manan because I don't need to be here. Because Manan, he sometimes fills in for Nitty. And he might as well fill in for me. So why do I even? He saw a commercial with Bob's hand. There's no device. It's his hand is cooked. There's nothing. He need a whole new left side of his body. He need a new half of body. I'm gonna take a break, regroup, get my life together. And I'm going to tell you what I believe led to an untimely death of Lindsey Graham. It started on February 28th, 2026, when bombing raids carried out by the United States killed Khamenei. And one of the reasons why we will never win any kind of military conflict with Iran is because what Khamenei was able to do, and you have different regions and districts and essentially states in Iran. Khamenei kept them all together. They all listened to him. He was their supreme leader. Now that he's dead, you have 36 different states. Some are at war with each other. All are at war with the United States with no central figure that they will follow and listen to. So even if the United States defeats 10 of them, there's still 20 to go. We killed a central figure that kept all these different warring sides in Iran loyal to one man. We killed that one man, and we have lit a powder keg in a region that did not need it, number one. Number two, Israel is just having a field day. So that's pretty cool. So, But I do want to give you just some background on why I believe Lindsey Graham is no longer with us, regardless of how you feel about him. It's not good to kill an American, right? Because you can't be too happy about it, because the country that did it, that I believe did it, and got away with it, well, then they can just kill some more Americans. And I want to travel. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to go somewhere and then they inject me with a heart attack dart and I come back. I already damn near died once on the air. Next thing y'all know, I'll take me a little trip. I don't know. Where could I go to? Afghanistan. Nah, I'm not going over there. Go to Italy somewhere. Oh, Sherwin Hughes is in Italy. And they hit me one of those little darts. Ooh, what was that? Ouch, that hurt. Next thing you know, I'm coming back on the air. Oh, my God, everybody. Let me tell you about my trip to Italy. And then I'm getting into my show, and all of a sudden, oh. And then Xavier and Manan Sabir would have to finish my show for me. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Reading aloud to children sharpens their listening skills, expands their vocabularies, and nurtures a lifelong love of reading. That's why Reading is Fundamental, the nation's leading children's literacy nonprofit, offers free monthly read-alouds by popular authors through its Rally to Read program. Visit rallytoread.org to watch the read-alouds and discover exciting reading activities for school and home. Visit rallytoread.org today.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
When I met both of them, it was like my missing pieces were found. Like, it was just like an instant, these are my kids. If you're considering adopting a teen, just do it. Kids need families. I don't care the age, everybody deserves a family.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Doctors Without Borders is delivering life-saving medical care where it's needed most in communities around the world. From bandaging war-wounded patients in Sudan to providing clean drinking water in Haiti, we're in more than 70 countries worldwide, bringing patients from sick to recovering, from emergency to aid, from crisis to care. This life-saving care is made possible by a global movement of supporters like you. Thank you.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Sip 46 said, y'all showing Lindsey Graham's pictures? I'm out. Xavier put that up. That was the last known picture of Lindsey Graham. I don't think people got the irony of that, Xavier, that he was holding a weapon of war and now he's dead. So that's why Xavier put that up. I often don't look at our YouTube break screen because I don't really care. Let's talk to Linda, shall we? Linda, you're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you?
Good morning, Professor, and all the beautiful black and white people of Milwaukee. Sherwin, I wanted to comment on your initial introductories and commentaries. I think that all white science is pseudo. Social science, political science, religious science is pseudo. And you seem to highlight the enemy's books and writings and theories on how to keep black people oppressed, like black people are a thing. And this is why I keep saying I'm thinking on a higher frequency for Sherwin, based on what I've studied and experienced in this racist country. And I think that the white man's disease is expressing itself, and we are falling into that rabbit hole. Just like slavery is the white man's disease inflicted on another human being. 3/5 is the white man's dehumanization and politicalization of another human race. We keep perpetuating it. And I think that we need to insert real black scientists and white scientists like Dr. Henry Clark, like Dr. Yusuf Ben Joe, whatever you call it, they call him Ben, Dr. Ben, because his last name is so tricky. Dr. Carter G. Woodson, Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, John Hope Franklin. All of these people have written an accurate and more scientifically proven a depiction of who we are as melanated people. I refuse to keep perpetuating the spell of blackness being a thing less than a dog. I am a melanated person. I am a human being, fully. I am not 3/5. This is all white mass ideology and disease of racism. We have got to change the verbiage because we're humans. We are melanated people. And there's science that proves that this is a disease of them, not us. We can't keep perpetuating their disease by keep repeating the verbiage. We have to change the verbiage. And all of this freaking game started, the whole freaking game was rigged when it started in 1839 at the Belgium Conference. The whole black-white racial vitriol was born in 1839 when they decided to make black a thing and white a thing. Hello! I'm trying to address this issue from a higher level of intelligence. We cannot keep perpetuating this thing that the racist diseased mind has started in 1839. And look at what it has done to society, to humanity. It has thwarted our God-given purpose. And this is why, by design, God is moving. I'm just saying that we give them more credit by perpetuating their verbiage. We are not less than a dog. We are not a thing. Black is a thing. Black is not even human. Black is not even human. It hasn't even been scientifically proven that you are black or that they are white. Come on, we got to use our higher intelligence when we're addressing this stuff, man.
All right.
All I'm saying is let's read some more black authors, for real.
That'll do it. All right.
And history has already informed us what we need to do, and that is to live off of our own skills that God has given us. We can self-sustain. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, I'm not going to challenge her perspective. She has a perspective. Call me crazy, happen to live in a reality where black people are 14% of the population and about 60% of us cannot read. We are overly incarcerated. We are disproportionately poor. We, for whatever reason, lack skill sets to compete in the 21st century. And we die sooner than everybody else. But that being said, it's the verbiage we got to change. And if you just read more black authors, duh. There's something that, and I appreciate her optimism, but if black people, I don't know, what do we do? Rise up, I guess? 14% of us, some of us are still children, some of us are infirm, some of us are sick, some of us are old, some of us don't know anything about anything. And so we got a couple percentage of black folks, and we're going to, what are we going to do? We're not a threat to anybody except ourselves. Apparently there was a music festival in Michigan. There was a black fellow went with some white people. And this is a lot of folklore on the internet because I'm hearing that he did come back from the festival and he went to a party and then he disappeared at the party. Then was he hanging? Did they find him hanging?
Yes. So that was Electric Forest.
Yeah.
Actually, I had a couple friends that
I
went there.
knew somebody that went there too. And they found a dead baby in a porta potty too. Electric Forest was just a whole mess.
Yeah, that's true as well. But the thing is, they say the dude rented a van and stuff like that for him and his white friends to go there.
Right.
And then like the day before Electric Forest ended, he had called the police, and the police had showed up to the campsite. They said nothing went wrong or whatever. Nothing was wrong. They left. Electric Forest ended, and they found his body. Like
He was hanging though, right?
Yeah, he was hanging. And
they said he wasn't suicidal though.
Yeah, and his friends just drove off. So he rented the van. Imagine you rent a van.
And then his vehicle, like his phone was in his vehicle, his wallet was in his vehicle,
Yeah.
like the doors were open. It just seemed very odd. And at what point was I trying to make by bringing up Electric Forest? I think I had a. Oh yeah. No, I don't know what point I was making. I don't think that black people don't scare anybody. Oh no, this is what it was. Oh, there's a whole bunch of, so there's all the stories on social media like, oh, if a bunch of black people are saying, I love when we do this. I mean, I wish we'd stop, but it's typical. Whenever we see something that we believe is obviously racially motivated, I even had somebody say to me over the weekend, Sherwin, you shouldn't be hanging out with white people because they're going to kill you. Do you understand that I am 10 times more likely to be killed by a black person that I do not know than a white person that I do know? Plus, my white friends know that if they're going to kill me, several of them are going too. We're going together. We're going to ride together. So they know better. We say stuff like, oh, if my black child leaves with some white people and if my child don't come back, I'm killing all your kids. No, you're not. No, you're not. If they did that to my child, and there was this one content creator, I listened to his whole rant, and he was like reenacting what it must be like. And he's saying all these white people, let's say he lost a child. He had a teenage son, I believe, this man who's a content creator. Oh, I got a teenage son. If my teenage son goes camping with some white people and my son doesn't come back, he's like, I'm killing all those white people's kids. And then he goes on to say, oh, the white people be like, oh, I can't imagine what that must feel like to lose a child, to lose your teenage son. And his black content creator said, no, you are going to know what it feels like because I'm going to kill all your children. Whenever we get really emotional about something that happened, and I don't know the details of it, I just know that there's a lot of mystery. And I don't know, and I'm not even going to speculate because I literally don't know. And anything that I say could be just as true as it is false. But when we as black people make threats, and we make them a lot, and we don't come through on them, we weaken ourselves even further. We think that our words are going to have an impact on systemic white racism white nationalism and white supremacy. We believe that they're scared of us. They're scared of us, but for a much different reason. They're not scared of us because of the violence we may perpetuate. They're scared of us because of our intellectual capacity to simply outthink them. I think that is a fear. They're also afraid that their populations are dwindling and that they will at some point become minorities. You know, America just craps on minorities. I think they're more afraid of that. They're not afraid of black violence because they know that black violence is a tool that subjugates other black people on their behalf. So no, we got to stop doing that. Oh, well, if you kill one of our kids, if one of my black children goes camping, I'm gonna kill your kid. You wouldn't even go to them white folks' house. Yeah, I will. Sure. No, you're just very upset because it hurts. It does. It's a very sad situation because we always can see ourselves or one of our vulnerable loved ones being harmed by these white people. But I think we have to realize that we can't beat them at their game. And also, we're on their colony. We're speaking English, for God's sake. We speak their language. They gave us a language that says, stop speaking that African language. Speak my talk. And we're like, okay. Now, we also created the greatest musical art form in the history of humankind, hip-hop, with their language of English. But it's just oxymoronic for us to think that all of a sudden, like, oh, yeah, we're just... White people would wipe us out if they cut off... They'd have to cut off, like, 3 things. Because, you know, black communities are mostly segregated. In every metro area you go to, there's always a black neighborhood. Cut off the flow of high blood pressure medication, insulin, and electricity, and like 40% of us are dead in 24 hours. Not exactly warriors, you know what I mean? It's not like we can go out in the woods like them and hunt for our own food and be survivalists and live off the grid. I gotta take a break. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Wisconsin State Fair turns 175 this summer, and we only get better with age. Join us for 11 days of fun, iconic traditions, grand champion moments, and food that's absolutely worth the hype. Celebrate 175 years together and get your tickets today at wistatefair.com. Wisconsin State Fair, presented by T-Mobile, August 6th through 16th. We'll see you there.
Mommy, can I sit in the front seat just this one time? Please, please, please.
No, not yet.
But why?
Because I love you, and you're just not ready yet. Now, get in the back so I can get you in your car seat, please.
Putting your kids in the right seat for their age and size is an act of love. Check that your kids are in the right seat at NHTSA.gov/the right seat. Love protects. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
In sitcoms, when someone has a problem, they just blurt it out and move on.
Well, I lost my job and my parakeet is missing. How was your day?
But the real world is different. Managing life's challenges can be overwhelming. So, what do? We get support. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have mental health resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. See how much further you can go when you take care of your mental health.
For 250 years, our armed forces have bravely served America. Wounded Warrior Project honors that legacy by supporting post-9/11 service members and veterans like Anthony, a Marine who was injured by a roadside bomb in Afghanistan.
They carried me through my injuries, not just my physical, but my mental. And seeing other vets doing the same thing helped me tell myself, hey, you can do this.
Join us in honoring warriors at woundedwarriorproject.org/America.
In the United States, a vehicle is stolen every 31 seconds, about as long as this message. Luckily, you can take a few easy steps to protect your car in the same amount of time. Remove your valuables, roll up your windows, don't leave your car running unattended, lock your doors, and take your keys or fob. If you have information about a crime, call the police. If you suspect insurance fraud, also call 800-TEL-NICB. A public service message from the National Insurance Crime Bureau.
I always had to be so good, no one could ignore me. Carve my path with data and drive. But some people only see who I am on paper. The paper ceiling, the limitations from degree screens to stereotypes that are holding back over 70 million stars. Workers skilled through alternative routes rather than a bachelor's degree. It's time for skills to speak for themselves. Find resources for breaking through barriers at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Aramore says, I don't understand why black youth or early adults choose to go to other people's events just to fight. It seems that they are extending their fighting talents to other people's events for some reason. A lot of them believe that people want to see them behaving in such a way. It's egocentric way of life for them. They cannot go anywhere and have fun. They're always looking for a fight or something to shoot at. Toxic black male masculinity and some black women are the same way. Mimicking baddies' activities. In the end, people don't want them, or better yet, us there, because they don't know what to expect. They are just itching to put no blacks allowed signs up, but they legally can't. Well, thank you, Armor, for your text message at 833-212-1017. I need to do a better job of reading text messages that come in at 833-212-1017. Just know that whenever there's an incident, could be Brady Street, Water Street, some other entertainment district that in a very segregated city tend to be a little more integrated because you have a bunch of people from all over the city. They want to have a good time. They want to go out to eat. Maybe there's live music playing. And then you have an incident, which really is a stain on the entertainment district, because we need entertainment districts in this city because they generate jobs and revenue and tax dollars that we then can reinvest in the infrastructure of our city, the physical infrastructure and the social infrastructure as well. So we do need our entertainment districts to be relatively problem-free. Now, there's going to be some disagreements. That's whenever you have a bunch of people getting together and you have some alcohol. There's going to be disagreements, but they shouldn't be as egregious as the ones that we are seeing. And here's what's crazy. Bastille Dates has already announced their dates for 2027. There's no big, increase in security. They're not changing it to 1, 2, 3 separate weekends. They're not doing anything drastic. And Brady Street is in the middle of a pilot project. I don't know, 6-week pilot project where they're trying some things to make it a little bit safer. Water Street is also probably trying some things, and business owners in the business improvement district are looking at ways in which they can make it safer. But what you're seeing, though, is no major alterations to how business is conducted in these business districts. But I want you to understand that there's still a consequence. Because there were fights at Bastille Days, we would think the consequence is, because the consequence for us as black people, if we had, let's say we had a black entertainment district somewhere in Milwaukee, and I would argue it's probably Water Street, but let's say it was somewhere on the north side. It was all black businesses and bars and restaurants and lounges, and there was a series of fights, and there were shootings like every single weekend in a black entertainment district on the north side. Let's say there was a lot of fights. The consequence we're used to is, it'll close down. They'll lose their licenses, and they won't be able to operate anymore. But when there's trouble and chaos and fights and shootings in white entertainment districts, we think in that same mindset, like, they're going to close all this stuff down. No, they're not. But there will be a consequence for black people, including black people, and especially black people that had nothing to do with that fighting. I want you all to know and understand this. And you cannot live in a fantasy world, because if you live in a fantasy world like Linda, you will continue to be disappointed and wonder why all of your efforts and all of your labor is falling on deaf ears. We have no choice but to live in reality. I wish I could live in a fantasy world. I can't. Surrounded by reality. The consequence is, even though you had nothing to do with black people fighting, you might even be a black person that speaks out against that kind of violence that we see erupt in entertainment districts, but you're going to pay a consequence for other people's behavior. You know what it is? Lack of representation. No one is going to politically elevate your issues. Your community, our community, gonna suffer. We're gonna get less. They're gonna invest less in education. They're gonna invest more in over policing us. We are gonna pay a consequence. We are not gonna hear our issues and our problems communicated through any elected officials and through any campaigns. That is the consequence that we are paying, and we will continue to pay. And what's going to happen is, over time, the black community is going to continue to unravel because we are still a small percentage of the overall population. And contrary to popular belief, black folks can't just go start their own goddamn bank. We can't just go. Why can't we start our own Black Wall Street? Because 60% of our community can't read. That's why. Can't read. But how come we can't? Because we can't. That's why. Because if we could, we would have. We will pay a silent but deadly consequence. Oh, they know that we're going to fight. We might even shoot a couple of guns at their events. And what they will do is they will represent us less. Remember, the I in DEI is inclusion. And when it gets to a point where no one wants to include black people and black issues, our community is going to suffer. So for every fist that is thrown on Water Street, every fist, every kick, every body slam on Brady Street, we will pay a consequence. We do not own and control enough of Milwaukee to improve our own conditions. We still need compromise and be able to work with them. And they simply are going to refuse. Why can't we start our own black-owned businesses? Oh, I think you know the answer to that. First and foremost, can we stop with the myth of black-owned businesses? Because in the modern era, if you want a black-owned business to survive, you know what you need? Probably more than black customers? White ones. Black people are already maxed out. Why do you think we have unlimited money to shop at every black-owned business? There's only so many damn candles and T-shirts I can buy. There's only so much sea moss a brother can use. You know what I mean? only so many Mr. Dye's pies that I can purchase. Point of clarity, I make it a point to get lunch at Mr. Dye's pies because you know they got pasties now. Yeah, they do, and they're delicious. They got beef Polish, ground beef, and then a veggie pasty with all sorts of mushrooms in it. Yummy. I support him at least once a week. Shout out to Jonathan. He also has a still image of me because he used to bring pies by for Thanksgiving. And you know, my big back ass, if he brings a pie into the studio, I start eating it right away. I'm never one to not eat food on the air. So he brought pies a couple years ago, and I'm eating. He's, oh, Sherwin, we got a new flavor of pie. I said, ooh, I like new. I like pie. I like flavor. So I'm eating the pie on air. So the YouTube video was playing. He had somebody grab a screenshot of me shoving a fork full of pie into my face on YouTube. And if you go to Mr. Dye's Pies here at the 3rd Street Market Hall, he's got a big computer screen, like a monitor, right behind the counter. So when you go up and you see the displays of the pies and you're looking at the menu, you see a monitor. Guess whose face is displayed on a monitor eating a mouthful of pie? I said, Jonathan, you didn't get permission to use my likeness shoveling a mouthful of pie into my face. He's like, Sherwin, but you did it on YouTube and it was public. And we find it quite amusing. So I am displaying, and my mouth is wide open. You could drive a damn semi-truck through my mouth. I got a fork, little plastic fork. I'm like, ah. So there you go. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Will be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Life's better with Drive My Way from American Family Insurance because we know it's more than just a car. It's your escape pod, your adventure mobile, your memory maker, And we help protect the dreams that drive you. Personalize what you pay for auto insurance and you could save between 10 and 35%. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Unsafe driving behaviors may increase your rate. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Natural gas is a clean, reliable, and convenient source of energy delivered directly to you through underground pipelines. The pipeline system has an excellent safety record, but there are clues that can help you identify a potential hazard. If you smell the strong odor of rotten eggs, hear an unusual hissing sound, or see blowing dirt or debris, it could be a natural gas leak. Leave the area immediately and call We Energies at 800-261-5325.
We Energies. People you can trust. Energy you can depend on.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakimick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Big Dog Dollar says, I understand Linda means well, but she's got to wake up to what the world is we're living in. She's getting frustrated because she doesn't understand. Yeah, I know, Linda. It's crazy because, like, Linda will go into her rant. And, Linda, I'm not picking on you, but, whenever you say things publicly, you're giving me a lot of ammunition. Like, she'll, criticize white people. But the first words out of her mouth, she says hello to them and thanks them. I love all the good white. According to you, Linda, there are no good white people. And good is relative, because I think that our standard, part of our problem is this. Our standard for what makes a good white person is so low. We'll hand out invitations to a barbecue if a white person says, hey, Blackie, racism is bad. Oh, you're coming to the barbecue. We find a white person that can dance like a black person. You're coming to the barbecue. We find a white person that lies to us and tells us that they voted for Kamala Harris. We bring their whole damn family to the barbecue. And guess what happens when you extend all these invitations to the barbecue? Do you think the conditions in your community gets any better? No. They learn more about us intimately, so they know the next incarnation of white supremacy, you doofus. You're not being invited to their barbecues. They don't want you to know what they talk about. They don't want you anywhere near their families and their children. So why are we extending barbecues? I think that we just want so bad, so desperately, acceptance, because maybe we believe that through them accepting us, that they will be nicer, fairer, and more accommodating. That's wishful thinking. Remember, we live in an anti-DEI political and social climate. Republicans have always been anti-DEI, but with Donald Trump's reelection, they were able to realize it in policy and even change some state constitutions, including Wisconsin's. Now this anti-DEI sentiment is being extended into the Democrats' playbook. They don't have to be inclusive of us, because in Wisconsin, where you can win a statewide election by between 25 and 30,000 votes, these Democrats are opting to get the votes from somewhere else. I was just telling somebody, I was doing an autopsy on David Crowley's campaign because everybody seems to be so damn fascinated on how he performed so poorly. There's no appetite because David Crowley represents, obviously, black people, whether he wants to or not. And if there is no appetite for white people to vote for somebody black because the whole Black Lives Matter thing, like that's done. And we are in a real, true anti-DEI political and social climate, white people aren't even going to lie on a poll and say they would vote for a black candidate. They're not even going to lie anymore. They're just going to say no. And if he never got above 5%, there's a lot of risk involved with David Crowley. The longer he would have stayed in the race, and he never would have got above 5% because there is no appetite and there is no sentiment to vote for somebody black because black issues can now get successfully ignored because guess what? There's no real consequence. What, like if you ignore black people, what really happens? I mean, we're kind of a drag on the economy, but whatever drag on the economy we are, either AI will replace or we'll find some foreign nation that can take over our part of the economy. Remember, black people don't produce anything that America needs to survive. We really don't. We're consumers, and consumers are always expendable. And consumers, you can invent a new consumer and invent a new market every 10 seconds. If you ignore us, really the biggest harm is the harm that we will do to one another. And so there's no real consequence in harming black people. So as I'm doing this autopsy with an individual on David's campaign, and so I don't know if the campaigns will purchase like voter lists. That's how they know to send you direct mail. That's why you see certain campaign advertisements when you're scrolling on your social media. They do this thing called a pre-roll on YouTube. A lot of times before you watch your favorite YouTube video, you'll see an ad, or in the middle of your YouTube video, like it often happens here when you're watching on the 1017 The Truth YouTube channel. An ad will just pop up. Well, elected officials and candidates can purchase your information. If they know that you're a voter and that information is public, they can make sure that you are targeted, especially if you live in a particular area that elected official is trying to get votes from, right? It's crazy because no matter where you are, you could be traveling out of state, you still will see targeted ads because your address is somewhere in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I don't know if I was targeted. Maybe they're saying something about me. I don't know. So a lot of the David Crowley ads that I saw, and first of all, he was getting lapped on television. All the other candidates were running TV commercials. He was not. But I did get like text messages, and I did see some of his like social media ads. I saw more David Crowley campaign and political correspondences talking about gay rights and pride than I did him mention anything about the anti-DEI referendum that's on the ballot or this current political climate that we are in that is toxic for black people. So this is what I believe. And so I was receiving these correspondences. And sometimes I receive the correspondences because the campaigns include me in all their correspondences because they want me to see them, so they hope that I talk about them on the air. Or they purchase really crappy lists and they're targeting people, or they're getting people on these lists that are not the actual intended target. I think that David Crowley tried to get more votes and extract more votes by showing his allyship with the gay community than he did with the black community, because even black candidates running as Democrats in an anti-DEI political and social environment, they don't need black votes either. Now, the problem is, I think that there's an illusion that if you're a good black candidate and you have a real good, like, moderate, centrist, pro-working class, you go progressive on some issues, like on queer rights and gay rights, and then you stay real solid on the economy and you have, like, this compromising spirit where you can work with anybody. There are some black candidates that believe that white people will see the merit and the tenets of your campaign platform and ignore the fact that you are black. That is absolutely incorrect. They will see you as black first, and everything in your campaign will be filtered through that particular lens. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for hour 3.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The performing arts do more than entertain. They bring the community together. From live performances and arts education to free community events, UPath helps support the organizations that keep southeastern Wisconsin vibrant. But it only happens because of people like you. Every gift helps keep the arts accessible and inspiring for the entire community. Join thousands of supporters and give today at upaf.org. UPath. One gift, regional impact.
When a warrior faces adversity, he fights through it. He finds a way. Freedom isn't free. Rolling strong. Belief. Believe you can, and you will.
Wheelchairs for Warriors provides mobility solutions to veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Join the mission and visit wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
Here's the deal. We gotta set ourselves up. See, retirement is the long game. We gotta make moves and make them early. Set up goals. Don't worry about a setback. Just save up and stack up to reach them. Let's put ourselves in the right position. Pre-game to greater things.
Start building your retirement plan at thisispretirement.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
For 75 years, the Muscular Dystrophy Association's voices have thundered through the halls of Congress.
For 75 years, we've willed the impossible into existence.
For 75 years, the MDA community has pushed the science,
shifted the narrative, and established the field of neuromuscular medicine.
And until that day, when this is all a thing of the past,
you couldn't stop us if you tried.
Join us and celebrate 75 years of breakthroughs at MDA75.org.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, walk them, pet them, and care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture or 50. You can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that, but you can adopt one. There are millions of pets waiting for a best friend just like you. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
Talking about guns with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you ask if there are any unlocked guns in the home?
Hey, we're so excited for tonight. Before we come over, though, may I ask if there are any unlocked guns in your home?
Our guns are stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access.
Awesome.
Learn how to have the conversation at agreetoagree.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Milwaukee Black Talk lives here on 101.7 FM and 1510 AM, W269DL Milwaukee, and WGKB Waukesha.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 3 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. The claim is that Russia sent a delegation to the Iranian Khomeini's funeral in February, I think it was early March actually, to Tehran, where the Iranian Guard Corps was openly calling for the assassination of 3 people specifically. President Trump, Laura Loomer, and Lindsey Graham. Just letting you guys know a little history here. Russia sent a delegation to Khomeini's funeral in Tehran, where the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, was openly calling for the assassination of Donald Trump, Laura Loomer, and Lindsey Graham. It also should be known and noted that Vladimir Putin and the country of Russia is allied with 2 nations we are currently at war with. So technically and via proxy, we are at war with Russia too. And I'm not sure if you know how Vladimir Putin plays by the rules. He murders and assassinates his political enemies in very unusual set of circumstances. He always wins re-election by 90% of the vote every single time. I think he's been serving as the president of Russia for probably 24, 25 years. Multiple reports on the funeral indicate that numerous foreign governments, including Russia, sent official delegations to the state funeral for Iran's supreme leader. Reuters specifically reported attendance by foreign delegations at all of the ceremonies. This is, of course, consistent with normal diplomatic practice between allied governments following the deaths of heads of state. Question 2. Were there public calls for assassinating Trump, Laura Loomer, and Lindsey Graham? All available evidence indicates yes. Independent reporting, including Reuters' coverage of the funeral and extensive reporting by Iran, documents chants against President Trump, placards displaying crosshairs or target imagery over several American figures, including Lindsey Graham. Posters naming Donald Trump, Lindsey Graham, Laura Loomer, Ben Shapiro, Miriam Adelson, and others. Iran International reported that mourners carried posters resembling assassination target lists with red crosshairs over those individuals, including Lindsey Graham. From Washington, D.C., a bipartisan group of U.S. senators said they had reached an agreement with the Trump administration to advance a long-delayed legislative list aimed at imposing tougher economic penalties and sanctions on Russia and countries that continue to support Moscow's wartime economy. The breakthrough announced on July 10th as Republican Senator Lindsey Graham visited Kyiv for talks with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky could give President Donald Trump a powerful new tool to pressure the Kremlin leader, Vladimir Putin, as Washington seeks an end to Russia's war now in its 5th year. Okay, so Lindsey Graham goes over there and meets with the Ukrainian president, who Vladimir Putin and the nation of Russia is currently at war with, to announce a new package of sanctions against Russia, which would have crippled Russia's wartime economy, essentially ending that war. Do you think that Lindsey Graham, who was already named as an assassination target in February, first of all, dude, not a good place to go. We see how Donald Trump's Secret Service operates. They tried to kill Trump, 2-3 times? And I don't know what kind of diplomatic protection the U.S. senators get when they travel overseas on these foreign diplomatic missions, but I don't think it is as robust as an American president. So apparently Lindsey Graham didn't care. So he went over there anyway to show his support and shake hands with Volodymyr Zelensky and take a bunch of photos and let the world see it, keeping in mind that Russia is allied with Iran, who they're actually beating us right now. America can't win wars anymore. The only wars that we can win are against our own people. We can't win wars against foreign governments. The one thing that you need that America has not had in a war in probably 80 years is you need the support of the American people. The vast majority of the American people, if you ask them, would you rather have us involved in another Middle Eastern war that we cannot win, or focus on the economy and jobs and fighting off the impact of AI and raising wages and making healthcare more affordable? I think the answer is actually pretty simple. And what's crazy is that the last Middle Eastern wars that we were in for 20 years, literally nothing changed. Now, we did have some, federal government contractors that made a few $2 billion with our wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. But do you think that we extinguished Al-Qaeda and the Taliban? No. We wasted 20 years and trillions of dollars and probably 5,000 American lives. So what do? Go right back into another foreign theater of war with a nation that nobody has messed with in 5,000 years. Listen, Iraq is one thing. Iran is another. They're real different. You leave them peoples alone. But then they'll say, but Sherwin, they were going to get the nuclear weapon, and the nuclear weapon is what they were going to get. Why is it that only our quote-unquote intelligence showed that Iran was close to a nuclear weapon, and not the intelligence agencies of, Portugal, Spain, France, England, Ireland, Norway, Finland, Sweden? The nations that are in a striking distance of Iran's nuclear weapon for some reason, and they all collect intelligence on Iran as well because they're a very watched country. But it was only our intelligence that showed that they were close to getting a nuclear weapon. So we killed the supreme leader. Stupid, because Trump thought, not we, him. Well, if you kill the supreme leader, then the whole country will fall apart. It'll fall to its knees, and then we can go in there and do whatever it is that we want. Let me tell you how stupid that is. First of all, what the dude's name is? Benjamin Netanyahu? Benjamin Netanyahu was like, Trump. Because that's how he talks. Trump. And Trump answered the phone. Hello, BB. I was just thinking about you. Laying here in my favorite satin boxers. What are you doing, BB? Trump, I want you to do something for me. And Trump was like, I like where this is going. And you know that you gotta tease Trump a little bit. You gotta dare him a little bit. So BB was like, Trump, I bet you won't bomb Iran. What do you mean you bet I won't? I bet you I will if you want me to. What should I wear when I do it? And we killed their supreme leader. And we thought that there would be no continuity in government if we did that. Like, oh, we'll just go and kill their main dude. The one that kept all these 33 different states and provinces in order, because the supreme leader did have control and reign. And all of the military states in Iraq, they all have their own agendas. They all have their own weapons productions. But the supreme leader was like, hey, everybody chill out. Just relax. I got it. I'm the supreme leader. Don't fight. Don't start no wars with Israel. I know Israel sucks. They're doing a bunch of Israeli stuff, but the Israelis. And these 33 provinces are like, fine, we'll listen to you, supreme leader. And then Trump takes out the supreme leader. And now all 33 of these districts, these areas, these provinces were like, well, there's no supreme leader to tell us what to do. Let's go to war with everybody. Let's bomb every American military base. Let's bomb Tel Aviv, and there's no one to tell them no. Trump, in receiving very bad intelligence, or he just didn't care, or Pete Hegseth was probably drunk when he gave the orders, which is likely all true. They thought that there'd be no continuity in government. So here's an example. Let's say the United States is at war with your country. And statistically, we probably are, either economically or militarily. And that country was like, okay, well, if we take out Trump, then the war will be over. Because, boom, if you take out the president of a country, well, then clearly they're not going to have the will to fight a war. That's not true. We have this thing called continuity of government. In Iraq, they have something similar, but not quite the one-to-one continuity of government that we have. So there was an elementary way of thinking. This is no way to conduct foreign policy. This is why Donald Trump should have never been president of anything. I wouldn't want Donald Trump to be president of a 4-H club. I don't even know what the 4-H stands for. Do they still have 4-H clubs? They used to be like a girls' organization where girls would join 4-H.
No, those don't exist anymore.
You said they don't exist anymore? Xavier?
Yeah, the last one I ever saw was in Brookfield.
Okay. So now you have uncontrolled and unlimited military conflict. And so Lindsey Graham decides he wants to take his little rainbow sweet ass over there. Oh, you know what they say about Lindsey. He like the boys. It's fine. I ain't got no problem with it. David Crowley tried to court that same group to get elected governor and see where that got him. You know what's crazy? Because even in Wisconsin, the gays are racist.
Oh, my goodness.
You kidding me? The LGBTQ queer community, talk to a black LGBTQ person, and they will tell you that the racism that is within that movement is just as bad as it is anywhere else, because I don't know why people think because somebody's gay they can't be racist. It's like thinking that a white person that votes for a Democrat can also hate black people. A bunch of things can be true at the same time. Those queer movements are very much white-led. They all are. It's fine. Whatever. It's interesting, though, too, because a representation of black queer folk, if they are politically inclined, because think about if you're black and queer, you have probably lost your family. You're going to be excommunicated from your family because black folks are very homophobic. You have probably lost the other solid foundational community that you have being black, the church. Okay? So you lose your family. You lose the church and just general support from your community. And so what a representative number of black queer folk do is they'll join in and join forces with a very open and welcoming community, the LGBTQ community and their different alliances. Follow me. I'll explain something to you. Because if we are going to be involved in politics, we can't be over here speculating and guessing and wishing like Linda. Some of us actually got to know the facts. So if a black person is queer and they lose their family because they get disowned, and they lose their connection with the church, which is also very foundational in the black community, and they want to go and be amongst like-minded people and be amongst allies, and they join with some of these LGBTQ communities that can be very supportive, and they often have resources where, people get kicked out of their houses when they come out of the closet. They've got resources. We find housing for people, and some of this is paid for by the government. We give them shelter because a lot of LGBTQ people are homeless because they get kicked out of the house. So we got rescue places for them to go. And this is all great. We don't want anybody to be homeless. But then if this black queer person that is finding this new home amongst this group of people in which they are now allied and affiliated with, sometimes those LGBTQ communities are very politically engaged as well. And democratic socialism, because you actually have a candidate right now, the only constituency that Francesca Hong says she will protect with no compromise is the queer community, right? So you're black and you're queer, and you've been excommunicated from your family and disowned by your family, and the church doesn't want you, and now you're with these folks, and they're now protecting you, and they are your allies, and looking after you. And they also happen to be democratic socialists. See, this is perfect because what they will do is they will extract the black out of you. You're not black anymore. Now you're one of us, because they can also say with great credibility, well, your black family disowned you, didn't they? Your black church turned its back on you, didn't they? Shed that black and now become one of us. That is foundationally and fundamentally one of the most racist premises you could ever happen. But it also tracks because there is nothing specific in the LGBTQ platform and allyship, especially when it is politically involved with democratic socialists, that speaks specifically to the problems in the black community. Because they now are involved in this anti-DEI political and social climate. Even though Trump started it, there's still things about it that make sense. You do not have to represent black people. In fact, prioritize the queer over the black. And I saw evidence of this in David Crowley's campaign. The amount of events and promotion of Pride Month that David Crowley did. And look, I get it from a strategy standpoint. You got to roll the dice. And if you believe that you can get your 25 or 30,000 votes to win the governorship of Wisconsin, if you can get it by getting a higher vote share from the LGBTQ community, because I don't think a black candidate for governor has ever really courted the gays the way that it seemed that David Crowley was more open to doing so. That even shows that a black candidate in an anti-DEI political and social climate will forsake black people, at least temporarily. But then what David Crowley would have done had he got elected governor is like, okay, finally I'm governor. Now I can start doing stuff for black people. But I had to get the gay vote first. And it was a calculated risk. Like if I ran for governor, I would probably go after the white single mom West Dallas vote because they're an untapped market. You know what I mean? I'd promise them dental work. Oh, I'm kidding. Relax, everybody. Just relax. But you have to find, because think about this. If you only need between 25 and 30,000 votes to win statewide, because that's what our elections have shown us in Wisconsin going back several election cycles, then you get to pick and choose what community you may want to engage. And there's a whole bunch of ignored constituencies in Wisconsin. And it used to be you would just get your vote, if you were a Democrat, you would get your vote margin by really engaging the African-American community. But remember, we're in an anti-DEI, I meaning inclusion. You don't have to be inclusionary anymore with black people, because here's the thing about us. You could potentially and theoretically win the governorship in a general election by engaging the black community heavily, right? Let's say you need that 25, 30,000 votes to win, which you do, and you want to get it from the black community. We disproportionately are harder to move and more expensive to motivate than pretty much any other Democratic constituency that exists in the state of Wisconsin. But here's the thing. If you commit those dollars and those resources and registering black voters and knocking on doors and putting flyers in our mailbox, and you do it for months and months and months and months, you're going to get your 25 to 30,000 votes. It may cost you $6.4 million, but you're going to win. You also are going to be beholden to the black community. And for some of these modern candidates, remember, you're in an anti-DEI social and political climate. For some of these campaigns, the black vote ain't worth it. Because you can spend half of the money and engage disaffected Trump voters, rural Wisconsinites that their hospitals are closing too. You can engage a cohort of women who are still concerned about reproductive rights. You can engage people on affordability issues and working class issues. You can engage farmers whose tariffs, the Trump tariffs, have hurt them. You have so many other constituencies that are cheaper and easier to motivate than the black community without having to be beholden to the black community. And this is the reality that I want people to see and understand. Here's another example. You got an election coming up, Democratic primary, where black issues are usually safe to talk about. Not a word. And actually, we asked you a poll on the YouTube because maybe I'm missing something. Let me get this. I haven't checked the YouTube poll since we put it up. Are black issues being excluded from modern politics? 89% of you say yes. So I'm not the only one that sees this. You can ignore black people and still get elected. And not have to be beholden to black people's issues, and it can save you a bunch of money. That means you don't have to hire black people. But here's the most, because I got to make it obvious for people. You know how we always have to tell white people what racism is, and we got to try and point it out and define it because they still don't believe it. I feel like I need to do that to convince people that we really are in an anti-black, anti-inclusionary political and social environment. So this is a black radio station. Everybody here is black. Even the people that do our voiceovers are black. Show hosts are black. Co-hosts are black. Producers are black. Salespeople are black. General manager, black. Not nan Democrat is running a single commercial on black radio. Not one. So I've been doing this a long time. I can't tell you how many election cycles I've been on the air. Black radio gets rich during political campaigns because Democrats and other affiliated groups like 501c4s, super PACs, they'll advertise on black talk radio to get the message out for the candidates to engage black voters. Because you got to engage black voters a whole bunch of different ways. Nothing. Not a single. Kyle Wallace is interviewing Mandela on his podcast, though, if any of y'all want to listen to that. So I don't know what the subject matter is specifically, but I have a feeling that Mandela has got a new and revised peanut butter and jelly sandwich recipe for this election cycle. Listen, I ain't going to listen. I'll be honest with y'all. Zach brought me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich last week. Best peanut butter and jelly sandwich I think I had in a long time. He used strawberry jelly. It's different than grape because it's strawberry. You got to have, no, you don't. You over here waving 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in my face like I'm at the strip club, somebody dangling breasts in front of me. I got to take a break. Zach got to PB&J's. He be selling them like dope, like fentanyl. I got that PB. I got them Mandelas. I got 2 Mandelas. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
In Milwaukee County, equity means making sure everyone has a real chance to thrive. That's why the Milwaukee County Office of Equity works to help remove barriers, strengthen community connections, and support fair access to opportunities across Milwaukee County. Want to learn what they do, explore resources, or find ways to get involved? Just search Milwaukee County Office of Equity online. Milwaukee County Office of Equity, advancing equity for all Milwaukee County residents. For more information, search Milwaukee County Office of Equity online.
Wherever there's a need in our communities, there's a United Way. Improving lives so everyone can thrive. Where more people can gain access to health care and nutritious food for their tables. Where more community members can benefit from financial education and get connected to local resources for housing support. And where children are given more chances to reach their full potential. Community is where we find our strength and where we share our hope. United is the way. Visit unitedway.org.
Are people around me safe when I vape? Science does not support that belief. Exhaled vape emissions linger in the air, affecting indoor air quality and bystanders in the same space through secondhand exposure. Vaping emissions can also accumulate on clothes, hair, dust, and furniture, leading to exposure risks to bystanders of all ages. And vaping around a pregnant person can lead to serious health impacts on fetal and childhood development. Enough with the puff. Learn more at ul.org/vaping.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
At UW-Milwaukee, students don't have to wait until college to start building their future. Roar Ready lets students in K through 12th grade join in on hands-on programs across the whole campus, from science and tech to arts, sports, and more. Students try new things, meet new people, and build skills that matter. Get started today at uwm.edu/roarready. I just checked my voicemail, and I got a message from the Joel Brennan for Governor campaign wanting to get on the show. I'll leave it up to y'all. Should I have him on? Should I have Joel Brennan? Joel's the first one who reached out. Just saying. Should I give him some time? Xavier looking like he don't know. Well, I reached out to Francesca. She was like, well, I reached out to Becky, her campaign manager. And Becky was like, oh, Sherwin, we'll get back to you soon with the answer. They got back to me same day. So Francesca's been on. But none of the other candidates have made the request. David tried to get on when he was running, but he didn't want to get on as a gubernatorial candidate. He wanted to get on to talk about some county initiative, but it's basically the same thing. Even though he's county executive, but oh, Sherwin, we're not coming on to talk about the gubernatorial stuff. Yeah, but it's still airtime for a candidate. I ain't stupid. David didn't advertise with us at all. And look where he's at. He's at home like me, watching it all fly by. All right. I don't know. I got a lot of emails. I got a lot of stuff to do today. As evident by why I'm dressed the way I'm dressed. I know y'all want to know, but I don't be telling y'all my business like that. Why everybody want to know my business? First of all, I tell y'all too much. I wouldn't dress like this for a lunch date. I would dress like this to go to dinner. Maybe. I had I didn't do my YouTube show really all last week.
Very disappointing.
Nah, I know you was disappointed, you old prank caller.
What? Never.
I had a lot of stuff going on last week. Last week I was on one. So I got back from Memphis early Monday morning. Came here, did my show Monday and Tuesday. Did the evening show Monday and Tuesday. Didn't do an evening show on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Oh, Xavier, I did post the Midtown video on the YouTube channel, and people actually are very complimentary of it. People are like, oh, I'm glad that the video was posted. They even shout you out in the comments of the YouTube video. Do you have another part of it? Because it kind of cuts Mark Chambers off at the very end. It cuts him off at a good spot, but it leaves people wanting more.
Yeah, it's a good spot. Because I figured if I kept, it was 10 minutes. I mean, I have
That Joker was also like 10 gigabytes too. It took forever to upload.
Oh yes. It's I mean, I'm shooting with my you saw my camera. I'm shooting with a professional camera. But yeah. I mean, that was like the unedited. I mean, that's like a rough cut right there. But
Can I get like another just like 2-minute piece? Just
yeah. You just want a little more. It was getting to 10 minutes. I'm like, where can I cut it off? Because there's so much more of the talking and questions asking. I just felt like where he left off, where he's making that, that gesturing and stuff like that. I felt like that was a perfect way to end it because it was a kind of a circus.
Because he said something. Well, he got the affordable housing stuff wrong because there was a resident that was like, hey, I'm a homeowner over here and I'm concerned about quote unquote affordable housing. Is it going to reduce, I'm paraphrasing here what the resident said, is it going to reduce the value of my property? And then Mark Chambers said, well, no, it's, you have to have 80% income, 60%. And then the developer's like, no, it's 30% of your income. So it's the lowest income housing. I think that Mark was either under the impression of, or he communicated that the quote unquote affordable housing would be closer to market rate, and it won't be. But yeah, we have a part of the Midtown little mini documentary on the Hughes Views 414 YouTube page. So that YouTube channel, it is mine specifically, and I will give like a daily digest of what I talked about during the day, or if there's any relevant stories that need more time and need more attention, or any news that broke after I got off the air, I will cover it in my evening digest. The original plan was to do the Hughes Views 414 digest podcast Monday through Friday. That's pretty ambitious because it's summer and I got to enjoy the warm weather, and doing a broadcast from 7 until 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. Because that's prime going out time. You know what I mean? That's prime going to dinner time. It's prime social time. So what I'm thinking of doing is maybe a couple of times a week. I'll have to revise the broadcast schedule, and I think I'll do one tonight though, because it's been a while. So make sure you subscribe to Hughes Views 414 on YouTube so you can catch new episodes and some of the content that I post. Some of it is informative, some engaging, some exciting. So make sure you are signing up for the Hughes Views 414 podcast. All right, let's see what we got here in the YouTube chat. A lot of stuff in the YouTube chat. Oh, Linda's still on one, I see. Labels, categories, segments, groups, all racist terminology, spells to perpetuate the game. Linda, I understand your adherence to semantics, but if we change the terminology, the foundations, you're trying to change the paintings hanging on the wall in a structure built by white supremacy and thinking you're going to change the whole building. That's not. And Linda, where was your activism like 50 years ago? Like, you could have really made a sizable dent, and Linda gonna think I'm picking on her because she's already emotional as hell. You can't just all of a sudden think that you found some new and evolutionary way to change racial dynamics in this country. I assure you, many, many things have been attempted. There's nothing easy about it, especially if we are living in the climate that we are in. And so here's the part that I'm not sure we're aware of. I got to get back to Lindsey Graham being assassinated. I got to get back to that. Black people are going to pay a consequence for the behavior that is being exhibited by other black people. So every fight, every shooting, both political parties are justifying not representing us at all. Think about this. Who wants the headache of representing us? Who wants the headache of representing a community in which you have to schedule a neighborhood cleanup? I'm still blown away by that. It's like, you know what? Since y'all do neighborhood cleanups, why don't you come clean my house for me? Because I don't feel like I need to clean my house. So why don't you have the whole community? No, I don't want the whole community cleaning up my house. You might steal. I have a lot of nice things. I don't need y'all in my house. But think about that. That's expecting somebody else from somewhere else to come and clean up in front of my house is insane to me. I'm embarrassed if somebody's got to pick up garbage in front of my house. Sherwin, we're doing a neighborhood cleanup in front of your house. No, please don't. I'll pick up the garbage. Okay. Like that's such a low level of involvement and activism. Just basic cleanliness of where you live. And I get it. People don't own the property. They don't feel a connection to it. They're renting. You know, the landlord is a terrible person. The landlord doesn't fix the leaky pipes when they're broken. And so people have generally no sense of pride. But if you live in filth, you begin to adjust to that. And it overall just diminishes your psyche. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Reading aloud to children sharpens their listening skills, expands their vocabularies, and nurtures a lifelong love of reading. That's why Reading is Fundamental, the nation's leading children's literacy nonprofit, offers free monthly read-alouds by popular authors through its Rally to Read program. Visit rallytoread.org to watch the read-alouds and discover exciting reading activities for school and home. Visit rallytoread.org today.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
When I met both of them, it was like my missing pieces were found. Like it was just like an instant, these are my kids. If you're considering adopting a teen, just do it. Kids need families. I don't care the age, everybody deserves a family.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Doctors Without Borders is delivering life-saving medical care where it's needed most in communities around the world. From bandaging war-wounded patients in Sudan to providing clean drinking water in Haiti, we're in more than 70 countries worldwide, bringing patients from sick to recovering, from emergency to aid, from crisis to care. This life-saving care is made possible by a global movement of supporters like you. Thank you.
Mommy, can I sit in the front seat just this one time? Please, please, please.
No, not yet.
But why?
Because I love you, and you're just not ready yet. Now, get in the back so I can get you in your car seat, please.
Putting your kids in the right seat for their age and size is an act of love. Check that your kids are in the right seat at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Love protects. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Looking to discover and support local businesses in our community? Then make sure you tune in every Friday at 8 a.m. to Truth in the Morning with Homer and Bailey for What the Business Is, powered by We Energies. Each week, you'll hear from local business owners as they share what their business is, where they're located, and one valuable lesson they've learned along the way. Don't miss What the Business Is every Friday at 8 a.m. on The Truth in the Morning with Homer and Bailey, powered by We Energies, delivering energy that powers local business. You almost can't get mad if you... Politics it's a game, it's a sport, and it's business. You black people are way too hard to represent because what do you even want? If I sat a black down, I got a couple of blacks in the producer studio. Hey, black, what do you want? I'm a person running for office and I'm looking to get the black vote, or at least your vote. And I say, okay, look, what do you blacks want? Like, what do you need? What do you need from me? What promises do you want to hear for you to vote for me? And go.
I would say universal child care from 5 weeks to 5K.
Do you have any kids?
Well, you're Saxon black people.
I'm asking you.
I don't have any.
No.
I don't have any kids.
You don't have any kids. You're not married. Give me something that you would need. And don't be a lefty, progressive, liberal, democratic socialist. Be black when I ask you this question, because if you can't come up with anything, you're going to prove my point.
Okay.
Give me something black.
Yeah. Pay time off.
Give me something black. White people can get that too. Something specific to the black community. You better come up with a nuance, because if not, you are going to justify why they shouldn't have to cater to the black vote. Because like I said, and I'm not picking on the Xavier. We don't know what the hell we want. It changes with the wind.
I know what I want.
Yeah, we do know what you want. You one of them socialists.
Yeah, I can list off a lot of things. I'm black, and I think the things I list off will help black people.
I'm black too, and I also can list off a whole bunch of political things that represent my social class more than my race. But I also can list things that are specific and nuanced for black people. Black children can't read. Black children that won't have educational options in the state of Wisconsin with the parental choice program is under threat. Black communities are still being over-policed. Black children still have high levels of blood lead. We still have lead laterals bringing water to our community that is impacting black people more specifically. So you got to be nuanced like that. Otherwise, you can just suggest, raise wages, pay time off, family leave, and all that is great. But that means that you can deliver those things and ignore how black people are specifically and individually harmed by other missteps in our politics. Let's talk to someone who knows all of the things. Hello, Al. How are you?
Hey, how you doing? First thing I'm just going to say to the black politicians, you're right, you don't have to cater. Keep that same energy. So if it's F the blacks, from the blacks to the black politicians, F you too, Iggy, and you keep that same energy. So when you get to the point where the whites don't feel you, you keep your black ASAK over there. So if it's F the blacks, F you too, be in all capital letters, from the womb to the tomb to the toilet tissue you put on your rectum. Moving forward. I heard toxic masculinity earlier. My thing is, why y'all don't give all that smoke to your daddy who left that toxic mother to raise you and that toxic grandmama who was there because your daddy didn't love you and he didn't come back and he went and made more kids and he was in their life and he said F your life. So why y'all don't give that bastard any smoke? But it was a black woman that raised you. Next. I heard you bring up the racism within the LGBT. Let's keep it 100. 97% of you racist white men have a glory hole for a mouth. You love black sausages that push out white milk. And a lot of y'all are power bottoms. And your rectum is pushed out. And it looks like a smashed up can, okay? But you know how to get civil when you want that black sausage, just like that racist white man who know how to be civil when he want to lay up that black woman inside. Also, I need black people to understand, everybody black does not have the defeated mentality when it comes to the white man. You have some parents who is about their business, but they're not going to say nothing. They're just going to do it. Furthermore, you got to give the white man his God back, because his God ain't never did anything for you. Iran beef is not with blacks. It ain't never been with blacks. Them racist white folks have to deal with that. But we have to understand the psychological warfare when it comes to black people. If black people feel they will always lose to the white man, you will never be able to move forward. Look at your Black History Month. They don't talk about the black people who fought back. They don't talk about Lucy Parson. She was a woman. Government was terrified of her. Let's also think about Jasmine Brand. Remember, Rosa Parks was high yellow. She just sat on her ass. Jasmine Brand ran on the same bus and threw punches with that bus driver. Let's not forget about Aunt Polly Jackson, who made it her duty to stab slave poachers in their face. Anything that's about black people standing up, and I don't mean God and we're nonviolent, they're not going to push it. And actually, y'all don't know, there is a sundown town for white people in the South. They never mention it. They never talked about the sheriff who was in one town and 7 KKK members, they kept being finding them in the rivers because he hired vets. All I'm saying, don't dumb yourself down and have the defeated mentality when it comes to white people, because white people are not God, and white people don't have to worry about black people in a race war. They need to worry about fighting their own. Rich white people don't give two damns about poor whites, and you whites can sit there and rough. Them rich white people look at y'all as niggers. They don't care nothing about you. You can move in black neighborhoods and live like rednecks and burn your garbage like you in Kentucky. They don't give 1, 2, 3 damns about you. I just wanted to share that information, and y'all have yourself a good day and keep your eye on the prize. Good evening. No, not good evening. Have a good day and do something kind for yourself. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Al should have his own podcast. The way he ran that down, he was historically accurate with the names. I was like really good.
I'm still wondering what a power bottom is.
Don't ask. You don't want to know. It's I could just imagine. Okay, let's take a break, huh? I'm going to talk about Lindsey Graham on the other side. When did he die? Saturday?
Sunday morning.
Sunday morning.
Yep.
No, it was at night.
Oh, yeah, Saturday night at 7 o'clock he called, and then I got the news Sunday morning. I was dancing.
No, it was it happened. I posted that night.
Yeah, so Saturday
night.
Okay. Yep. And then
what was Saturday's date?
The 11th.
Oh, my God. I have an article here. So he died the 11th.
Correct.
This article I have, which is dated 4 days before he died, so July 7th, it says the CIA's heart attack gun, a Cold War weapon for targeted assassinations. So there's an article that came out about a weapon that is used that mimics a heart attack 4 days before Lindsey Graham he died by a heart attack. I also found it very interesting. They said he had a brief illness. A heart attack is not a brief illness. A heart attack is quick. Oh, my heart, ouch, and you die.
Yeah, they said he died in the ambulance, so he died before he even got to the hospital.
So a heart attack is rarely described as a brief illness. It's its own unique cause of death. So I don't know if we'll ever get the toxicology reports or any of that, because what it will lead to is foul play, which might encourage the Trump administration to go to war with the nation that is responsible for and also threatened to kill Lindsey Graham. So why don't we do this? We'll take a break, come back. I'm going to talk about this technology that our CIA had 51 years ago. And so any technology that we had in America a half century ago, most third world countries, rogue regimes, and terrorist organizations probably have at the very least 51-year-old U.S. technology. We'll talk about that on the other side. Because I think that Lindsey Graham was killed. He didn't who does he leave his money to? His boyfriend?
Yeah.
Okay.
His lover in D.C.
You know Cory Booker is gay too, though.
Oh, is that right?
That's the biggest, worst kept secret on Capitol Hill.
We
don't care.
Wasn't he dating that actress?
He's married.
Rosario Dawson or whatever?
Yeah, she has a beard.
Oh.
That's fine. Corey, you're still a good dude.
He might just be bi.
No.
No?
Nah. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
You're invited to summer's biggest celebration. Join Wisconsin State Fair in celebrating 175 years of memories together. Get your tickets today at wistatefair.com. Wisconsin State Fair, presented by T-Mobile, August 6th through 16th.
In sitcoms, when someone has a problem, they just blurt it out and move on.
Well, I lost my job and my parakeet is missing.
How was your day?
But the real world is different. Managing life's challenges can be overwhelming. So, what do? We get support. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have mental health resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. See how much further you can go when you take care of your mental health.
For 250 years, our armed forces have bravely served America. Wounded Warrior Project honors that legacy by supporting post-9/11 service members and veterans like Anthony, a Marine who was injured by a roadside bomb in Afghanistan.
They carried me through my injuries, not just my physical, but my mental. And seeing other vets doing the same thing helped me tell myself, hey, you can do this.
Join us in honoring warriors at woundedwarriorproject.org/America.
In the United States, a vehicle is stolen every 31 seconds, about as long as this message. Luckily, you can take a few easy steps to protect your car in the same amount of time. Remove your valuables, roll up your windows, don't leave your car running unattended, lock your doors, and take your keys or fob. If you have information about a crime, call the police. If you suspect insurance fraud, also call 800-TEL-NICB. A public service message from the National Insurance Crime Bureau.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
They call it murder.
Jam rock, camp where the thugs them camp at. 2 pound now within a van back. It inna your handbag, your knapsack, it inna your backpack. The smell of your girlfriend contact.
All right, here we go. The CIA's heart attack gun, a Cold War weapon for targeted assassination. So Lindsey Graham was over in Kyiv meeting with Volodymyr Zelensky to talk about this new round of sanctions that would have crippled Russia's ability to fight back and strike back against Ukraine, because Lindsey Graham is was an unabashed supporter and ally with two nations, specifically Ukraine and Israel. So Lindsey Graham goes over to the Ukraine. Not a good idea, kind of a dangerous region. They're at war with our biggest global enemy, which is Russia. And then Lindsey Graham comes back, calls Donald Trump at approximately 7 or 7:30 p.m. Trump said Lindsey sounded fine, but a little tired, and rightfully so, because that's a very long flight from Ukraine back to Washington, D.C. Well, Lindsey Graham, there was a 911 call. Apparently TMZ has the audio of that 911 call. I'm not that morbid where I would play something like that, but we find it very unusual. You know that Lindsey Graham had a nickname? Not that nickname, but he was king of the Capitol Hill steps because he was in relatively good shape, and he would a lot of steps on Capitol Hill, a lot of steps. And he would routinely walk up and down all of these different flights of steps on Capitol Hill. Now, I'm not professing that he was in good cardiovascular health, because at the age of 71 and being from South Carolina, maybe he had a poor diet. I don't know. I haven't seen the autopsy, but we just find it very unusual that he dies of this heart attack shortly after he gets back on a foreign trip to talk about a round of sanctions that would have crippled Russia, keeping in mind the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps that is allied with Russia. So Russia is helping to arm Iran. Okay? The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps named 3 Americans that they wanted to assassinate when we killed their supreme leader February 28th. The first person they wanted to assassinate was Donald Trump. Duh. The next was Laura Loomer. And Lindsey Graham was the third individual that they said back in February that they wanted to assassinate. The CIA's heart attack gun, a Cold War weapon for targeted assassinations of all the secrets revealed by the so-called Church Committee of the 1970s, perhaps none captured imaginations as vividly as the heart attack gun. There's a photograph of this man holding up what looks to be an extended barreled 9mm style pistol with a very large scope on top. Of all the Central Intelligence Agency secrets revealed to the world by the so-called Church Committee of the 70s, perhaps none captured the American public's imagination as vividly as the, quote, heart attack gun. During the Cold War, there was almost nothing the CIA wouldn't do to get a leg up on the Soviet Union, from simple operations such as intercepting and reading the mail of American citizens to more serious and equally as illegal acts such as dosing unwitting, non-voluntary human subjects with LSD and seeing how well they would hold up to interrogation. We know about these secret efforts because Congress investigated the agency as well as the FBI, National Security Agency, and the IRS in 1975 and released its findings to the American people. The results of the investigation were, to put it lightly, alarming. Led by Idaho Senator Frank Church, the Senate Select Committee to study governmental operations with respect to intelligence activities, which became known as the Church Committee, was sparked by a series of startling revelations in the early 1970s. First, a whistleblower revealed the Army was spying on American citizens at home. Almost as soon as the dust from that discovery settled, a New York Times article revealed that the CIA had been spying on Americans for decades, keeping files on some 10,000 Americans suspected of being foreign agents, including at least one, if not more, members of Congress. The Church Committee soon uncovered the CIA's robust assassination program, targeting anti-American leaders such as Congo's Patrice Lumumba, Rafael Trujillo of the Dominican Republic, and Vietnam's Ngo Dinh and General Rene Schneider of Chile, and famously Cuban dictator Fidel Castro, who survived numerous CIA assassination attempts. But if the agency was going to kill world leaders, it couldn't look like an assassination, of course. The CIA needed the perfect weapon, and it found one in shellfish. Once extracted, the potent neurotoxin could be frozen and fired from a pistol, killing its victim with what appeared to be a heart attack. In a 1975 public hearing, Senator Church showed the CIA's heart attack gun to the world, and I got a picture of him actually holding it up. The weapon itself resembled a Colt M1911 pistol with a scope, but it didn't fire a .45 caliber bullet. Instead, it fired a frozen pellet of saxitoxin, a poisonous substance derived from shellfish that consume toxic algae blooms. The pellet could be fired silently up to 100 meters away. It would enter the body through a pinprick entry-size wound that could almost never be found in an autopsy. The poison would then melt, and within minutes, the victim would be dead. Weaponized saxitoxin was the discovery of Marie Embry, who joined the CIA right after leaving high school in the 1960s. She began her career as a secretary, working to create small electronics and deliver passports and other documents to field agents. She was later moved to a project known as MK Naomi, with a mission that included stockpiling severely incapacitating and lethal materials for the specific use of the Technical Services Division. That's the agency's source for the specialized devices used in their spy operations. Her job was to find a poison that was undetectable, and saxitoxin was the silver bullet the CIA was looking for. Now, I'm not saying that they saxitoxin Lindsey Graham, but I know this. He went to the Ukraine and met with the Ukrainian leader to announce a new round of sanctions against Russia, which would have halted Russia's ability to produce weapons of war against Ukraine, and it would have brought the war against Ukraine to an end. It also should be noted, and this is fact, you can look this up yourself, that the Iranian National Guard Corps, which is allied by and to some extent funded by Russia, had 3 people on their assassination list after we killed the Khomeini February 28th, 2026. First person on that list that they wanted dead was Donald Trump. And we know there have been several attempts on Donald Trump's life. And the attempts on Donald Trump's life and those people that try to carry out those attempts, very little information is known about them. That's number one. Number 2 was Laura Loomer, who was an advisor to Donald Trump. She was on that IRGC assassination list. And the third person, of course, was Lindsey Graham. I just find it very coincidental And also quite controversial that Lindsey Graham, who just returned from a trip to the Ukraine, died very suddenly from a heart attack at the age of 71. The Republican majority in the U.S. Senate, including the Mitch McConnell absence, is now 51 to the Democrats' 47. Don't go anywhere. Ray Nitty is going to rock the mic with maybe Shannon with their fantastic show that they never have me on, by the way. Oh, they say because I always leave. That's why I'm never on.
Because you always leave.
Well, I got to go right now, too. So, bye.
Each blood pressure check,